This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Good afternoon from the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi for the final race of the 2025 Formula One season. I'm standing on the marina itself, looking out at the glistening water. It's oppressively hot, over 30, up to maybe 32 degrees right now. We are in a remarkable position. One race, 3 possible world champions. It's been 15 years since we've been able to say that for the final race. And the pontoon actually just paints the picture wonderfully of the situation we're in. So there's about 20 or 30 pristine white yachts, and above me is the Union Jack. Lando Norris, British driver, looking for his first world title. In the distance, I can say a huge boat with Aura 51 written on it, with 2 huge Dutch flags, and also a pirate flag, a skull and crossbones above it, which says everything you need to know about Max Verstappen. Hero to some, villain to others. He's competing against Lando Norris. And here as well, right at the front of the pontoon, there is a boat which is just bedecked in Australian flags. And yes, you will get a bit more on Australia hammering England before 12:30. It says on the front of it, berth 9 3/4. I assume that's a Harry Potter reference. It was Max Verstappen saying he needs a bit of Abu Dhabi magic, but it's mostly true of Australian Oscar Piastri, the third driver who can still win this title on the final day. The Australian fans are going wild, though. They've got 4 blow-up kangaroos with boxing gloves in front of us. I think it's more about sharp elbows, though, for Piastri and his rivals. Let's walk and talk. I've got commentator Harry Benjamin with me. Harry, everyone is going to get a brilliant soundscape here because it's a little bit relaxed on the pontoon, but we're about to walk into the sort of beach hut area and the music will start to build and we'll start to feel that it's business time.
Absolutely. We're just heading into the paddock, passing by all of the team villas where they're all based throughout the course of the weekend. And things, well, could be simple for Lando Norris this evening once the lights come on and illuminate this track. But nothing is simple in Formula One, but all he has to do is finish inside the top 3 and he will be world champion, regardless of where Max Verstappen or Oscar Piastri finish. For Verstappen and Piastri, well, they've got to win the race. For Verstappen, if he wins it, he's got to hope Lando Norris finishes 4th or lower. For Oscar Piastri, if he wins it, he's got to hope Lando Norris finishes 6th or lower. So Norris very much in the driving seat.
So we've left behind the marina where the music sort of reflects pop culture for all of the various countries who've made their way here today. Now it's starting to sound a little bit more traditional. We've got a huge cream gazebo above us, white net curtains as we walk toward the paddock. And now what we can see is bright orange, or to be specific, the shade of choice is papaya. That is the 2 McLaren drivers. That's what they'll be decked in. Lando Norris certainly the favourite to win the whole thing today. Oscar Piastri very much the outsider. We'll talk about all of them. Max Verstappen too. We'll hear from all of them shortly as well. So we're outside the McLaren team base now, and we're going to look for the other half of our commentary team. So we're walking through a huge crowd of people. I've seen all kinds of celebrities here today as well. People like, even the great Micah Richards is here, believe it or not. I saw him strolling through with Thierry Henry just a moment ago. And here we are then with the man who'll be joining Harry for commentary this afternoon, the 1996 world champion, Damon Hill, is with us. Damon, good afternoon. You know how this feels. What a day ahead.
Yeah, I don't think I've been in a championship showdown with 2 other guys who could take it from me, but maybe I have. Maybe I've forgotten. But it is a tense one. It's a fabulously tense one. It's exciting. It's what we want, really.
Maybe not against 3, but you were against Michael Schumacher enough times. We've got Max Verstappen in this concept, this race as well, this challenge. Do you see some similarities there in terms of that sort of the eye of the tiger that they're going to bring to this final race?
But they never give up. They've been astonishing. They have overturned 100 and whatever it is point deficit, and they've relentlessly encroached on McLaren and made McLaren crack at times and wobble. So what they've done to them before this race, I do sense that McLaren are anxious. They've got to be, haven't they? They've got themselves in a situation where now there's quite a few permutations where they could lose out, but there's going to be there's bound to be some sort of tactical magic that Red Bull are going to do, and I haven't worked out exactly what it is. It might involve the other driver, I just know that they're going to do something. They are not simply going to... Max is not going to go off pole, get a great start and then disappear. There's no point in doing that. He's going to win a race, but he's not going to win a championship.
Take us back to 1996 then. You arrive at the track on the day you could be world champion. What's going through your mind?
Well, you try not to think about it, is the truth. I mean, it's not very helpful because you're not world champion, and so you have to remind yourself that whatever you think, you cannot get ahead of yourself. You can't be thinking, oh, isn't it great, I could be world champion this afternoon. But you have to stop all those thoughts and just focus on the job. And if you've got peace of mind, which is what I tried to achieve, was I need to be able to feel that I'd done everything I possibly could, I hadn't left a stone unturned, prepared myself fully to just to accept whatever was going to happen and just do my job. And in simplifying it is really important.
So Damon and Harry are going to be with us for the next 10 minutes or so, live from here in the paddock. Then I'll be heading over to the grid. I'll find Rosanna Tennant there, and we will really get the build-up going. The sound of the engines. I mean, I think you guys at home are going to struggle to hear yourselves think, let alone us here. Let's go off to the grid now, though. It's not quite as loud just yet. Our very own Jolyon Palmer, former Renault F1 driver, has been on a bus around the track, and he's now with the men of the moment.
Max, I'll start with you. 8 races ago, you were 104 points away from the championship lead. Now we're in Abu Dhabi. You're in pole position. It's almost within your grasp. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. Like you said, crazy turnaround for us. So now we're just very excited to go racing out there.
And it's obviously a complicated race because not only do you need to win, but you need to hope that the Lando doesn't finish on the podium. How much are you going to be looking ahead, and how much are you going to be meddling with these guys in the race?
Hopefully, of course, we could just do our own race, but at the same time, I'll be looking behind, see what is going on out there.
Okay, best of luck, Max. Lando, championship leader heading into the finale. You've seemed so cool so far this weekend. A great lap at the end of qualifying. But how are you feeling now? We're at the biggest race of your career. How did you sleep last night?
Surprisingly good, actually. No, I'm excited. I mean, it's incredible. It's a big moment for all of us. Obviously, one of us, this guy here, has done it many times before, but this is what we've been waiting for our whole life. So excited, enjoying it, and ready to go.
And I know you wanted pole position. And if I told you were going to be second, the last person you'd want on pole position is this guy. How do you see the race going? What's your plan of attack with Max ahead?
I don't know. Just there's no point in trying to guess too many things. Just wait and see.
Okay, best of luck. And Oscar, what a season it's been for you as well. Third in the fight, third on the grid. But we've seen so many years now where anything can happen down to the wire. How are you feeling? Do you still think when this evening comes and the fireworks go off, you can be the champion?
Yeah, I mean, there's still the belief, still the hope. Obviously, I need a few things to happen, but it wouldn't be the first time in F1 history that things have happened. So try and make sure I put myself in the right spot at the right time, and go out and try and win the race. That's all I can do.
And I've got to ask you, Andrea and Zach were both talking about having an advantage, having 2 McLaren drivers and 1 Max here. Do you know now the position that you might be in the race strategically, supporting Lando or fighting for yourself?
Yes, I do know.
And can you tell us?
No.
All right. Well, we can't wait for the race, guys. Can we have a handshake between you all three? And then we'll send you on your way for the driver's parade.
A 3-way handshake.
Is that forced?
You can go one at a time. You don't have to if you don't want to, Max. All right. Best of luck, guys.
Sounded like they just about got the handshake in at the end there. A 3-way handshake just to get them going before the race. Isn't it funny, Damon, how everything from so many people, such a big team, goes into this operation to get these guys for the final race, and they're thinking about, please just give me a good night's sleep.
Yeah, well, they've been travelling all over the world. The jet lag difference from Vegas to Qatar was massive as well, so they're probably just still recovering from that. And on top of that, they work really hard. So the whole Formula One paddock, everyone who works in Formula One has been putting on a fantastic show. We're very grateful to them for that. It's tremendous what they do. But of course, the championship now, it comes down to, like you say, these final few little bits. And now we're relying on just 3 people in a way, to do their bit. And we don't know what the result's going to be. Isn't it great?
This is the thing, though. We're getting to 24 races a year now. Formula One is relentless, and it is going to come down to those small mistakes. We can't rule out things like tiredness creeping in. It's not just what the drivers are doing on track. This race can be won on track, but it can be lost as well on track and in the pit lane. Pit stops are going to come into action here and when we go into under the lights this evening, so that's going to be crucial. You need everyone firing on all cylinders. We're at the end of a big old regulation cycle. We rip up the rule book for next year. It's a blank slate, so reliability as well could well be another factor. So many small margins could determine the outcome at the end of 58 laps.
Damon, you're part of a wonderful club. It's called British World Champions. Lando Norris is so close to joining it now.
Yes, he is, isn't he? You know, how many, a couple of hours, we'll know.
Yeah.
But he, as I said, boy, he can't be thinking about that, but we are thinking about it, and we'll be celebrating if he achieves it, because I'm not sure how the cricket's going, actually, to be honest, as well. So, you know, it would be great. He'd be very welcome to the club, put it that way.
Is there an AGM? Is there a WhatsApp group? I don't know how it works.
Not yet, no, but maybe we'll have one, yeah. I've just had my picture taken with all the world champions that were here as well earlier. There's quite a few of us, Prost and Fittipaldi and Stewart, and then all the Nico Rosberg and all the other ones. Mika's got 2, so a couple of us have only got 1, but we're still in the club.
What is the mentality of a world champion then? You know, what is it that you absolutely need to have, especially on a day like this?
Well, you do need a bit of luck. Everyone's trying really hard. Everyone's knocking on the door. They're doing everything they can to get in that position. You need a bit of luck. But when you get into that situation, you need to have an incredibly clear head. And you need to be focused only on what you need to do and dispense with any other intrusion. You know, I was watching their faces and listening to Max, actually, quite interesting just now when he was talking. He didn't seem as jovial as he normally does. You know, he's going into killer mode, can I put it that way? He's turning into the Max Verstappen that we see on the track, you know, right now. And, you know, Lando, they were trying to keep it, they can keep it as much as possible calm as they can. Lando seemed like he was relaxed, which is good. Oscar knows that he's in a position where he needs a bit of luck, but he knows that something can happen, and he made that very clear.
But to speak on the mentality side of it, obviously I'm not a driver, I can't speak on that, but we've got 3 very different drivers in very different positions. Oscar Piastri kind of has sounded a bit resigned to the fact he's not going to win this world title. That long run of poor form which really put him out of it, and at the end of last week in Qatar, where he didn't win the race because of that curious strategy call from McLaren, I felt like from then he kind of realised, I'm kind of out of this one. But on the flip side, he has absolutely nothing to lose. He can risk it all this afternoon and go for that win, because that's all he can do. Lando Norris, the most to lose, on the cusp of history to become a first-time world champion in this sport with a team that he has essentially grown up with as well. He's been brought and mentored almost by Zak Brown and brought up the ranks. And then, of course, you have mighty Max Verstappen, been there, done that 4 times on the trot. I think he does care. He does want this 5th world title, and he is going to try everything he can to take it this evening.
So we're in front of this great stone villa, which is the McLaren base, basically. It says Team Villa on the front, number 4. Zak Brown, who Harry just mentioned, CEO of McLaren, has actually just walked through behind us toward the garages. So there's about sort of 10 metres between where these teams will sort of disappear under the main stand. That's where all of the computers, that's where the pit lane is, that's where all of those tyres are stacked up ready to go. Over to the left, it's just slightly more serene. There are palm trees all over the place. If the drivers are able to stay calm, they'll be doing it in there, because in a couple of minutes they'll probably come walking past us. Red Bull is about another 50 metres down the road to our left. So Laurent Mekies is their team principal. We'll speak live to him on the grid. We'll speak live to Zak Brown on the grid as well. Let's just talk a bit more Max Verstappen then, Damon. You were talking about Lando putting everything out of his mind. So how do you do that when, so for example, you would have had to have tried to do that with Michael Schumacher. And Lando's got to try and do that with Max Verstappen. That's easier said than done.
Well, you've got to be aware of what the permutations are, what the possibilities are. He knows, he's known Max for ages, you know, since he was a tiny kid. There's 2 years age difference between them. They followed a similar path in karting and everything, and now they're up against each other. He knows what Max is like, but he's factored that in, and he's basically, you don't become automatic, but at the same time there is a certain amount of learning that is reactionary, but based on experience, which he can draw on. So the really difficult thing is getting to the grid. I mean, that's the adrenaline when you're sitting on the grid and the lights are about to go out. It's so easy for you to your fingers will be trembling, or his fingers will be trembling, and they've got a finger clutch. You don't want to let go of the clutch, You've got to go through those stupid procedures like putting it in gear, filling it up with petrol, and all that. Not that they have to do that. But anyway, the team will have put the right amount of fuel in. But they do have this procedure. They'll have to get their tyres warm. They'll have to watch out on the lap to the grid, because Max, I don't know what he's going to do, but you have to be close enough but not too close, even on the lap to the grid, to make sure you don't take your eye off the ball there,
Do you know, I was speaking to Max Verstappen yesterday, and I know that feels like a name drop, but I mean, that is the brilliant thing of being here. You get the opportunity to talk to everyone. I mentioned to him, Damon, what you had said during our free practice 3 commentary, I think it was, basically saying he's kind of somewhere between the Terminator and the shark from Jaws. I was expecting a smile from him. What I got was that he just looks right through you.
He had those dead eyes, didn't he?
But he does, doesn't he? I mean, he really, really does.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to paint him as a nasty person. He's a very, very effective racing driver, and he's a nice person away from things, but he's doing a job here. And as you said, as you saw, he has to be like that in order to get the results he's been getting.
You've got to have the killer instinct. You have to. And one thing that he's been able to do more maybe than Lando so far is, you compare this to other sports, Steve. You're going to be on the grid talking to these drivers, talking to the people that make it work, literally minutes, seconds before they take to the track. You don't talk to a footballer a second before they're about to do kickoff or in the middle of the match. So they have to deal with all that, and then they get that moment of peace and quiet that Damon was referring to. Once they're in the cockpit on their own, the pressure ramps up, and then it is all up to them. For Max Verstappen, he's gone toe-to-toe with Lando Norris before. There was a sort of half-hearted title fight towards the end of last year where Norris was trying a little bit, and we saw Max Verstappen, we had all this debate over driver guidelines. He is able to push the limits of what is within reason. He drives in the grey areas, and that's Verstappen's strength. He knows what he can do. He's going to be leading the field away. His focus will be leading out of turn 1, and then he can control it from there. He's quick. Can they convert that quali pace into race pace? We shall see. But Max Verstappen is dangerous this evening, and Lando Norris knows it.
And the other thing is that Max, Damon, just gets to be Max Verstappen. He enjoys being that sort of disruptor. He can drive exactly how he would normally drive, apart from the fact that he needs to try and control the race. Do you think it would be a mistake for Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri to try and almost get involved in the way Max drives? He's going to be him. Do they have to just drive like they drive normally?
Yeah, when you say drive normally, it's you have there's a certain amount of it which is normal and what they are used to and routine, but then there is this other dimension which is the world champion, and that the world championship, it just changes everything. It's a totally unique situation, but no, I will make this point that Max has never been in a position that I can think of where he's gone down to a final championship race where he's been threatened. He's always been the threatening driver. So in 2021, when he won his first, he was the guy who was coming from a long way back. And so it is a lot more difficult for Lando, I think, because mentally he's already got it. He's got points in the bag. He's got an advantage. He can only lose in a sense, So that's a slightly different mindset. And I'm just looking down the grid here as well. You've got 2 Red Bull related cars in the middle of the grid, and that might be important when it comes to pit strategy as well, tyre strategy during the race.
So I'll probably ask you this at least once more before the start, but what are we now? We're 40 minutes from race time. On the day a world championship is deciding, do you just want to get in that car and crack on?
Yeah, they'll be wanting to get on with it. They've done their truck tour and they'll be enjoying the breeze. Maybe they'll be keeping themselves to themselves and probably not wasting energy rabbiting away like I'm doing now. But nervously talking, because I am pumping myself up now for the start of the race, aren't we?
You seem nervous.
We are pumped.
Get your head in the game, Damon. Come on, we've got to go to the commentary box.
And I was thinking, we're coming up to Christmas now, and I keep thinking of this. That Christmas carol, "We Three Kings of Orient Are," and we used to muck with it and call it, and put our own lines to it, which is one in a taxi, one in a car, or two in a taxi and one in a car. What have we got here? We've got 3 potential kings here in the desert, and basically we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very exciting.
But only one can leave with gold. The others will have to make do with frankincense and myrrh. Thank you very much, guys. Off you go to the commentary box. We'll speak to you again shortly. Damon Hill there and Harry Benjamin, your commentary team here in Abu Dhabi. Right, we are now just under 40 minutes away from race time. So in about 10 minutes, I'll be off to the grid. And then we talked about the soundscape of a day like this in Formula One. It is going to be roaring on there. Much more live interviews to come over the course of the next 40 minutes. Let's talk a bit of football now, though, because this feels like a huge story. Full coverage, as always, on Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Right, we're on the grid at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We've got just over 20 minutes to race time. We're going to walk up as we go round our reporters at the live sport that's going on right now. 5 games in the Women's Super League. Leaders Manchester City are at Leicester. Kicked off at noon. Nikesh Ragani.
Yeah, approaching half-time, Leicester somehow managing to hang on against the league leaders. The visitors have had 3 big chances, falling to Khadija Shaw, all going just wide or just over. It's still Leicester City 0, Man City 0.
We arrive at the first Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, absolutely devastated, angry, furious to be this far back in the grid. We've only just got to him. We've got a long way to go to the front. Manchester United aim to go back into the top 3 after Arsenal's win yesterday. They're hosting West Ham at Lee Sports Village. Kicked off at 12:15. Nathan Olben.
Goalless so far, Steve. United boosted by the return of goalkeeper Fallon Tullis-Joyce, but West Ham's Kinga Shemik has been the busier so far, twice keeping out United's Elizabeth Turland. And typical Lee weather, Steve, chilly, drizzly, it is perfect. 20 minutes gone, United 0, West Ham 0.
We're about halfway there. We can see the big grandstand to our left-hand side, big Max Verstappen flags flying there, and all the countries of the world seem to be here today. 2 Premier League games today. At 4:30, Fulham Crystal Palace on 5 Live. At 2, Brighton West Ham starts on Sports Extra. We'll keep you updated on 5 Live during the Formula One. We'll join commentary later during the second half. Jonathan Pearce is there.
They're not skating on thin ice, but both of these are wary of slip-ups. Brighton are well placed, but back-to-back defeats with Liverpool coming up next week could leave them deep in the bottom half. West Ham have had a Nuno bounce, but they've won just 1 in 16 against Brighton, and with Villa and Man City next up, they can't afford to allow a gap to grow above them.
We've arrived at the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda, his final race as a Red Bull driver before he's replaced by Isaac Hadjar for next season. There are cups of ice on top of his car. We can see the steam billowing off them. It is vital that they are ice cold in more ways than one at race time. As we continue walking, who's going to be ice cold in the final of the UK Snooker Championship? Mark Selby takes on Judd Trump at the York Barbican. Jamie Broughton.
Well, Mark Selby recently beat Judd Trump in the final of the Champion of Champions event, but surprisingly they've never played each other before in a Triple Crown final. Selby looks to be back to his very best with impressive wins here over Barry Hawkins and Sean Murphy. As for Trump, who's the defending UK champion, he's playing well again, having ended the experiment with a new cue and reverted back to playing with his old one. Play begins at 1 o'clock with 10 the magic number to be crowned champion, Steve.
20 minutes to race time. We are all eyes now on the lights in front of us that just emerge bright red. When they disappear, we'll be ready to go racing. We are getting closer now to the start line here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Rosanna Tennant is with me. Rosanna, all of a sudden, this feels big.
It's incredible down here on the grid, isn't it? We're being passed by celebrities. The musician Sam Ryder just walked past us. We've got Thierry Henry here as well. Some huge names have come to see what's going on. But this atmosphere is electric. We've got a DJ blasting out the tunes. If you look up into the grandstands, they're absolutely rammed. And Steve, I've got to say, it wasn't like this yesterday. It wasn't like this on Friday. People are turning out in their thousands to see how this one goes.
Part of me is tempted to walk backwards and grab Sam Ryder, but we've got to go forwards. There's only one direction, and it's right toward the front of the grid where we're about to find the 3 title protagonists. We've got the Mercedes just to our left-hand side of George Russell. He said, in qualifying, maybe Max will give me a tow. He seems to feel egotistically, Rosanna, that maybe he might want to have a little say in the title race today.
Well, George Russell just wants to win this race. It's absolutely vital that he gets as many points as possible, because don't forget, Mercedes still haven't sealed P2 in the Constructors' Championship, so that's going to be on his mind. And of course, all these drivers go out to win. That's what's so exciting about today. We've got some fantastic drivers right up at the sharp end, and George Russell's going to want to mix it. He wants to be part of the story, I think, Steve.
And just like that, we arrive at the car of Lando Norris, the championship leader, who will start the race today from second on the grid. In front of us, we have the lights. We've got on the right-hand side, you see loads of Lewis Hamilton fans still at every Grand Prix. We went past him so long ago. We're just going to squeeze through now, and we're going to get all the way to the front of the grid. We'll certainly grab up a couple of team principals live in a few minutes' time. We've got the national anthem on the way as well. And there it is, the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, besplendent in the dark blues and reds and yellows. In front of us, they're actually having a team photograph now with all of the squad that's put this together, and they're doing so in front of the driver's trophy. Laurent Mekias, team principal, is just to our right as well. He looks very cool and calm and collected. Rosanna, Max Verstappen suddenly feels like the story, and you can feel it. He is the car everybody wants to crowd around here.
And he's the underdog. How rare is that, Steve? We spent so many years now, as you said yesterday on our podcast. He's always been the one we've thought, how much is he going to win by? It's not a case of can he win, it's always how much by. Suddenly he's the underdog. He's charged from 104 points back to just 12 points behind Lando Norris. He is the story, you're right. He's in prime position, pole position, but it's not enough. That is the big thing. He can't just win the race today. He needs something huge to happen behind him, and he can control that.
All of the cars at the moment are empty because the drivers are probably about 40 metres in front of us. I'm just craning my neck to look over the top. I mean, we could try and absolutely pile through the middle, but by the time we get there, we'll probably be turning round. There's so many celebrities here as well. We might see if we can grab a word with one or two of them as well. I can just see, if I stand on my absolute tiptoes here, the back of the heads and the caps of the major protagonists that are here for the Grand Prix this afternoon. What must be going through their minds right now? Stand by for the incredible sound of roaring engines. Stand by for the flyby from the United Arab Emirates Air Force as well after the national anthem.
It's Formula One.
And here comes the flyby from the United Arab Emirates Royal Air Force, all of the colours of the world flying around in top of us. It is a remarkable atmosphere that we've got in front of us. They're swirling round in like a DNA manoeuvre here, and well, we're thinking about DNA. We're talking about who's got it, who hasn't got it for a race like this. It is quite incredible actually to be here as you see the crowd and the cloud of smoke just sort of whipping between each other. It almost forms almost like a sort of a toxic shape in the middle of the sky, and there hasn't been that much toxicity between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. There might well be over the course of this Grand Prix, and it just feels, Rosanna, that everything we've seen over the course of the last few months, it cannot last the bonhomie between those two McLaren drivers, not over the next 2 hours.
That's what McLaren are hoping is going to happen. They want those relations to continue into next year. That's why they've employed these racing principles all year long, because they see this as a long-term partnership. But I think it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out, whether Oscar Piastri will oblige when there are team orders employed, if they are employed, when they're going to be asked of him. I think it's going to be fascinating. But Lando Norris said on Thursday, Steve, in the press conference, didn't he? They get on well now, but it can just take one decision to jeopardise that. I think that was a secret little subtle message for Oscar Piastri, on top of telling him that he would move over for Piastri if the shoe was on the other foot.
Right, we've got 9 minutes until we'll get kicked off the grid. Let's go and find some team principals, shall we? Because we're right at the right end of the grid with the two McLarens and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen next to us as well. So we're just going to sort of turn to our left and find the pole sitter who'll be heading towards his car now. And we're so close. There's only in between us and the drivers one sort of thin rope, which just tells us, come no closer. I'm sort of squeezing through with Rosanna toward the edge of Max Verstappen's car. There's a bit of anger going on in front of us as well. Max right now is just standing in front of me. He's looking down at that car with that same icy look in his eyes that we are so used to seeing from him. He's been the Iceman. That's what he's been in Formula One for so many years. And now he has the opportunity to equal what Michael Schumacher did and be one of only two men to win 5 world titles in succession. Only 2 drivers have won more than that, full stop. Right, in a moment we're going to go and try and find Zak Brown, the CEO of McLaren, and we'll get his thoughts. He's got a lot of things to think about right now, of course, because his drivers are the ones that need to find a way to stay on terms. I'm now right at the back of Max Verstappen's Red Bull. I can actually smell the heaviness of the fuel in front of me. It's coming out of the back of the engine in little wisps. The huge sort of circular bags that house the tyres, they have got to be not 0.5 degree more, not 0.5 a degree less than perfect temperature when it comes to the start of the race. Rosanna, I think in a second we're going to be able to speak to Laurent Mekies.
As you'd imagine, Steve, he's a man of the moment. Of course, someone that we can't talk to because we can't talk to the drivers on the grid. As you'd expect, they're in the zone. But Laurent Mekies is doing a fantastic job of fielding questions from the media because all eyes are on this grid spot. All eyes on Max Verstappen. All eyes as well on his teammate, Yuki Tsunoda. He did him a favour in qualifying yesterday. Is he going to step up and help him in terms of strategy today? Could he go long on the hard? Could he provoke a bit of an undercut chain reaction? It's going to be really interesting to see how Red Bull manage that with their second driver as well today, whilst focusing on Max Verstappen and securing that 5th title for Verstappen. But yeah, as you can see, he's got a lot of people waiting, and a lot of people waiting to talk to him.
Yeah, of course he does, and you would expect just that as well. Rosanna, let's talk to the man of the moment who's turned this team around.
Well, Laurent Mekies, team principal of Red Bull, all eyes are on you and Max Verstappen. How do you manage this one?
You know, in the end, it's fairly simple what we have to do. We have to do what we have been doing in all these last races, concentrate on ourselves, try to give Max the best possible car for the race stream, and from there on defend the pole position he had yesterday. What's happening behind us, we can't control.
Can Max control the race in terms of backing people up? Because, of course, if Lando finishes on the podium, that's a championship loss.
Yeah, of course, but as I said, we cannot control what's happening at the back, so it's difficult enough to try to win the race. We are going to do everything we can to do that. McLaren had some serious space in the long run in FP2. We hope we have made some progress to be able to defend against them, and the rest will play it live.
Of course, you can control Yuki Tsunoda. He's going to be instrumental, I imagine, as well as helping out Verstappen.
You know, it's good that Yuki is fast this weekend. Obviously, it's good to have him in the mix. He can play a role, and we hope he will be as close as possible to Max.
We'll see what happens. Good luck, Laurent Mekies.
Laurent Mekies, team principal at Red Bull. We're going to squeeze past him, and now we find Lando Norris just to our left-hand side. He is ready. There's Oscar Piastri as well, who's pulling on his helmet. He's just scratching the side of his neck now. He's got to find the ice vests as well that they tend to wear just before the big race as well. This McLaren car looks absolutely incredible. And I'm just walking round now to Lando Norris. Let's see if we can spot him. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Zak Brown as well, the McLaren CEO. I'm on the start line now of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is incredible to be here. So just look above me. You can see those huge spider cams that will go absolutely firing up and down to try and keep up with these cars as they come thundering down the home straight. Looking up into the grandstand, I start to see even more Lewis Hamilton flags. The number 44, the prancing horse, the red Ferrari. There's a couple of Brazil shirts and Brazil flags. Oh, I can see a Senna top as well. Ayrton Senna, the late great. That's a lovely thing to see, of course, right in front of those Brazilian fans. And it is a day for current world champions. It's a day for former world champions. It's a day for history, because that's what all these guys are going for. Max wants the 5th in the row. Oscar Piastri wants his 1st ever. Lando Norris wants his. Lando wants to become only the 3rd British driver since Damon Hill to win this thing. It's been a long time coming for them. The car of Lando Norris now is just to my left-hand side. And we're going to walk and see if we can find Zak Brown. He's just having one last word. He's having a hug, actually, with Lando Norris. He's finding those last final words to say to one of his drivers before he gets underway. So I'm just ducking behind the back of the McLaren at the moment. And let's see if we can wander over and grab a word with Zak. It's really interesting, actually. He's taken this last moment to try and find the words to his drivers right at the death, just before race time. He's just had a hug with Lando Norris. He's now standing over the top of Oscar Piastri. Piastri looking down at the steering wheel. And wow, I'm just looking at the face of the McLaren CEO now, because he has got so much to think about. Both of his drivers have given absolutely everything for him all this season. But both of them, I'm sure, are going to feel like this is going to be their day. Zak Brown, McLaren CEO, is with us live on 5 Live. Zak, you've just had a hug with Lando. You've just had your final words with Oscar. But how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go racing. Let's get the show on the road.
Are you totally confident that everyone knows exactly the score? We heard Oscar saying, listen, we know what we're doing. It's important not to overcomplicate, right? Everyone's got to know where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah, obviously it's not just another race, but it's just another race, and that's how we have to treat it. But a little bit more at stake this time around.
I was pleased to hear Lando saying that he slept well last night. What about you?
I slept well. I had a little tennis tournament this morning, so I needed to get ready for that.
Did you win?
I was playing Stan, who's won the French Open, the Australian Open.
Stan Wawrinka?
Yeah. I demolished them. No,
And one last thing, Zak, what is the final thing that you've said to your drivers on this massive day?
Have fun.
Great to talk to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Zak Brown, McLaren CEO, and new tennis champion, Rosanna Tennant.
These guys can do it all, can't they? From the drivers to the team principals. They have so many interests and skills, but I love that. Go have fun. That's what Zak Brown has said. He's such a racer at heart, and that is why they have tried to stay true to their racing principles this year, to give themselves the best chance, but also to give us an amazing show. And my goodness me, I hope that's what we get this evening, Crossy.
In about 2 minutes' time, we'll be coming off the grid. In about 3-4 minutes' time, we'll be handing over to your commentary team. Damon Hill, let's get another word from you. Here we are then. I am looking Lando Norris dead in the eyes as he has the final bit of sort of cold air pumped into the car. 4, 5, 6 minutes to race time. This is the wrong time to blink, isn't it, with those lights about to go out?
Yeah, what does he look like? I mean, you know, it is very difficult to keep yourself calm, but he'll be doing that. They've got all the training and everything. I'm sure he's done breathing exercises and goodness knows what. To stop the adrenaline from becoming too much. You do not want to be jumpy. You've got to be calm. You've got to have a lower possible heart rate as possible and just focus on what is the simple task of getting a Formula One car off the line the moment those lights go out.
I've had one last look at Lando Norris and at Oscar Piastri, and now we can just see the picture in front of us. 3 cars set up, ready to roll. 2 in beautiful, pristine, bright papaya orange. The others in the deep blues of that Red Bull. We're now making our way off the grid because there's only 5 minutes to race time. Coming through, absolutely flying through now, are all of the different teams because they have these huge big boxes full of equipment that they've got to get to the pit lane.
This is the real race of the evening, isn't it? Who can get back to their garage fastest? I've seen wonderful videos in the past of all them all sprinting up the pit lane. Of course, they've got to be ready if something happens either on the formation lap or on the first lap. So they've got to get all that kit off the grid, get back to the garages and get ready to maybe even have to do a pit stop early on. So the mechanics, they're working hard. It's been a 3 long weeks, Steve, this triple header.
It's almost like a conga line of huge, these must be sort of 2 foot tall, 5 foot wide, and you can tell the heaviness of everything that people are having to lift here as they get themselves off the grid. We're not going to get in the way of McLaren, who are just coming through with their cold air units effectively. There are these massive sort of guns. I can see the Union Jack flag on the back of Lando Norris's. Pete Bonington is just to our left-hand side, Mercedes race engineer for Lewis Hamilton for many, many years. There's a lot of talk that Lewis might be changing his for next year. We're now in the pit lane. I just look behind me and I can see right in front of us, they're first in line in more ways than one McLaren because they were the winning constructor of last season. The papaya orange pit lane, the pit box. Rosanna, it could be won and lost in there.
It really could. Strategy is going to play a huge part. I think we probably will see a one-stop race, but you never know. The undercut could be quite powerful. We've seen quite a lot of graining. If we see as much graining as we saw on Friday, then we could see the undercut playing a huge part. People pitting early and trying to shake up the grid. Can they disrupt some of the strategies that some of the front runners want to play? Maybe that'll provoke people into the pit lane sooner rather than later.
Rosanna, thank you. Lots more to come from you during commentary. That's Rosanna Tennant with me on the grid. We're now walking back into what they call Parc Fermé. In an hour and a half's time, there will be at least one car here with a driver who is over the moon, who has finally done it. Either it'll be Max Verstappen yet again, or it'll be Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris for the very first time. The final countdown blasts out over the speakers at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. You're not kidding. It's time for commentary, live on 5 Live, with Damon Hill, world champion in 1996, and your commentator, Harry Benjamin.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, Rosanna. From the grid, we transport you up to the commentary box as we overlook that starting grid, and just moments away then from the formation lap, ahead of 58 laps of racing. A race that begins in daylight and ends in darkness. We've also got the BBC's F1 correspondent Andrew Benson up with us in the commentary box as well. And Andrew, I just want to bring you in because strategy is the talk of the town for this weekend and this race, and we have the tyre information come in.
Yeah, we've got everyone in the top 10 on mediums except Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda who are on hards. Now, I would imagine Red Bull are trying to work out ways they can use Tsunoda to hold up one of the McLarens at one point or another. And Piastri on hards gives them a strategic option going into the race. They've got to work out, whatever Max Verstappen gets up to try and win the race and affect the McLarens, which is effectively what he's got to do. They've got to find an answer to it. And having drivers on opposite tyre compounds gives them some chances to do something different.
Yeah, further down the grid, also got a couple of runners starting on that soft tyre. Lewis Hamilton down in 16th, ahead of Alex Albon and Nico Hülkenberg, hoping for a fast start and then maybe some action early doors. But Damon Hill, you are indeed alongside me. It is crunch time now for our 3 title protagonists. They get left alone in their car shortly. Just the final mechanics remain. They'll lower the cars down off the jacks and remove the tyre warmers. And then, Damon, it's all up to the driver.
It's up to the driver indeed. And of course, McLaren have actually declared that they've split a strategy. They're basically saying, listen, we know we have to do something different with one of our cars, and the Oscar Piastri hard tyre option does seem to be the attempt to basically keep going. If there is an early pit stop with Max might be hoping to come in. I think Lando will just copycat him.
Well, we shall see. It's not long to go right here on 5 Live for the finale of the Formula One Championship. After 23 races around the world, it all comes down to 58 laps as the sun sets here on Yas Island under the night sky. Verstappen, Norris and Piastri all have their chance of becoming the 2025 World Champion. It's simple for Lando Norris, finish on the podium and he is champion, but things in Formula One are rarely that easy. The lights shimmer across the marina. The final stage for the final fight of the season is set, and it is time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We'll take you from back to front, and it's the Alpines in Renault's final race in Formula One. 19th for Gasly, 20th for Colapinto, with Nico Hülkenberg in the Sauber going from 18th. Behind, Alex Albon's Williams in 17th. Lewis Hamilton, another day to forget for him in the Ferrari, starts from 16th. Behind, Lance Stroll's Aston Martin. Then comes Kimi Antonelli in 14th. Liam Lawson will go from 13th behind Carlos Sainz's Williams and Oliver Behrman's Haas in 11th. Yuki Tsunoda starts inside the top 10 behind his replacement Isaac Hadjar in 9th. Esteban Ocon starts from 8th for Haas behind Gabriel Bortoletto. Sauber will go from 7th. He starts just behind his manager Fernando Alonso from 6th in the Aston Martin. Into the top 5, it's Charles Leclerc in the other Ferrari from 5th. George Russell is 4th for Mercedes, and then come your title protagonists. It's a 3-way showdown. It's Piastri in 3rd, Norris in 2nd, and Max Verstappen on pole position. As they head round on the formation lap, weaving left, weaving right, getting heat into all the tyres. We've got action across the 5 Sports Extra network as well. Brighton against West Ham from 2 o'clock, commentary on Sports Extra from the Amex Stadium. 4:30, Fulham against Crystal Palace at Craven Cottage. We'll bring you updates of that as well. Final of the UK Snooker Championships 2, Mark Selby taking on Judd Trump. And if you missed it, I'm sure you didn't, 2 Ashes tests and 2 defeats for England as Australia win by 8 wickets. Reaction on the TMS podcast on BBC Sounds for you. Well, I mean, it may well be going well for Australia in the cricket, Damon. Not so well in the Formula One, but anything can happen. Oscar Piastri starts right behind, and the 2 times we've had 3 drivers going for the title, it's actually been the man in 3rd place that's won out at the end.
It's far too early to be making predictions, Harry. We have no idea what is going to happen in the next hour and a bit, and we need to get past the start, which is happening in a few seconds as we watch Max Verstappen doing a burnout, several burnouts to get those tyres up to temperature, get the top of the tyre nice and sticky as they start to slot into place on the grid. They're all lining up. There's a little bit of an angle on Max's car. Lando's pointing straight ahead. He's on the inside for turn 1. If he gets a very good start, he's got to be careful. He's got to be so careful he doesn't get tempted into a move.
Well, they are lining up on the grid. Then let's check in with our reporter, Rosanna Tennant.
The excitement's building down here in the pit lane and paddock too. Everybody gathered around huge screens. If I look round to the final grandstand, that's packed. The balconies of the hotel, people are spying over the balcony edges, and the boats in the Yas Marina are packed out as well. Everybody is excited to see what's about to happen.
Waiting there for a little while is Max Verstappen on the right-hand side, heading towards a left-hander that is turn 1. It's 177 metres, the run down to pole position through a left-hander. Then it sweeps through the fast sweepers that go left and right. The sun dips, the floodlights rise, and the tension climbs. 58 laps to decide the story of 2025. Ice in the lights and foot to the floor as we go racing in Abu Dhabi. Verstappen aggressive, cuts across to the inside. Norris has to go wide, follows in suit, tucks in behind. Piastri in third. Good start too from Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. George Russell has lost positions from 4th place, but Max Verstappen doing what he needed to do as they hurtle down towards the left-hander of turn 5. Will Norris try a late lunge? No. He sits in second as they now head down the back straight. Verstappen leads Norris with Piastri close behind.
And Lando did a very bold move coming into turn 1 there. He saw Oscar going around the outside and he actually moved across to actually block him. So now he's maintained that position, but Oscar's doing a little look-see going into turn 5, 6. They're coming out cleanly in the order as Lando started in. So we've got Ferrari ahead of now Alonso. So a little bit of action, but it's been a clean start, and it's looking good for Max as Oscar tries a move on the outside, going down to turn 9. He's going round the outside.
Piastri round the outside at turn 9 on the hard tyre. Piastri through and up into second. The man who sits third in the World Championship coming into this weekend. He has to win at all costs. He can risk it all. All Norris needs is a top 3 finish, and he is champion regardless of where Verstappen and Piastri are. But it's Max Verstappen who leads as we close out of lap 1, and he carves his way through the final right-hander, now followed by Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris is down to third, and Fernando Alonso has had a brilliant start. He was really putting pressure on Charles Leclerc's Ferrari, not quite been able to get through on him. Leclerc still 4th, then comes Alonso. Russell is 6th, Bortoletto 7th, then comes Hadjar, Ocon and Tsunoda the top 10, Lawson, Behrman, Sainz, Hamilton, Albon the top 15, Lance Stroll, Antonelli, Hulkenberg, Gasly and Colapinto the 20 cars, all safe and cleanly through in these opening stages.
And that was a very decisive, very meaningful move there by Oscar around the outside of Lando, and I think that actually that is very good for Lando in some senses, because it means that Oscar can actually go and get Max. He's on a hard tyre. We don't know. He's looking quite competitive at the moment. Possibly he can push harder with the hard tyre than Max can on the softer medium.
I almost wonder whether that's strategic from McLaren. He's on different tyres, Oscar Piastri. He needs to win the race to win the championship. Norris doesn't need to, just needs to be on the podium. If he can go and attack Max Verstappen, cause Verstappen problems, get Verstappen out of the lead somehow, then that's only to McLaren's advantage on every possible level. Let's see what happens next.
That is going to be something the pit will be working hard out across the next 56 laps or so. Max Verstappen with a 1.5 second lead over Oscar Piastri, who is on that alternate strategy starting on the hard tyre. We are expecting a one-stop strategy in this race. Maybe it tips over to a 2 if tyre wear is particularly high, or indeed any safety car intervention as well. There is a 38% chance of some kind of safety car following an incident, so we'll see how that unfolds, but that is all data that the pit will takes into mind when planning their strategy. On to lap 3 of 58 here in Abu Dhabi as the sun slowly dips in the sky and night will fall. The floodlights will come on. Verstappen leads Piastri, leads Norris, then Leclerc and Alonso, the top 5.
Yeah, there's definitely some strategy thoughts going on with McLaren. Of course, they do not want to put Lando, well, Lando really doesn't want to put himself in a situation where he has to battle for the lead with Max. He doesn't have to win the race, and in any case, he's vulnerable, and Max needs for Lando to be out of the podium positions to give himself a chance. So attacking with Oscar would seem to be the right thing to do. Why would you let Oscar go around the outside of turn 9 though? I don't know. That was looked to me like a very decisive move by Oscar.
I mean, whether it was strategy induced or not, I think that was a pretty epic move from Oscar Piastri. Round the outside at turn 9, that whole complex reprofiled a couple of years ago ahead of the 2021 season. Couple of notices after the first few laps from race control. Starting procedure infringement from car 43, that's Colapinto in the Alpine, all the way at the back of the field right now. And an incident at turn 7 involving Hamilton and Albon leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Hamilton is in 14th ahead of Albon, who's lost positions. He's behind his teammate Carlos Sainz, who's also lost positions. The Williams drivers down to 14th and 15th, with just Stroll, Antonelli, Hülkenberg and the two Alpines behind. Lap 4 of 58, Max Verstappen from pole position leads this Grand Prix, the final of the Formula One season. We have reached 24 of 24 as he pulls out a 2-second gap, having set the fastest lap of the race last lap around. Norris is third behind teammate Piastri. Then comes Charles Leclerc, who managed to get behind a really fast-charging Fernando Alonso. George Russell is in 6th behind Alonso, still keeping tabs on the Aston Martin, and actually reported on the team radio that he might have some brake issues, so monitoring that, but it's not slowing him down right now. DRS is activated, the drag reduction system opens, the rear wing opens, the flap appears and gives you nearly a 7/10 of an advantage as you head down the back straight. George Russell makes the move easily on Alonso as Lawson and Behrman nearly take each other off, battling for 11th and 12th. You can only use DRS if you're within a second of the car in front. Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, in the second DRS zone, closes in on Lando Norris, who doesn't budge too much. He's not feeling the heat. He holds third place, but Norris is under pressure here from the Ferrari driver, both on the same tyre, but Leclerc is pushing, Damon.
Yeah, Charles has definitely been on a fire, actually, trying to get this car into the race, and he's not backing off in the race itself. So he's actually creating a problem for Lando Norris now, because he's got within the DRS and he very nearly went for a pass. Then that would put Lando into 4th. Of course, 4th is not good if Max wins.
Team radio.
And Lando, we're happy with this as long as you're comfortable. This will be plan A, target lap, plan A, target lap.
That's the message from Will Joseph, Lando Norris's engineer, to Lando in the car. No response that we hear, but asking if he's happy with plan A. So right now, Rosanna, well, he's dropped a position. He's got pressure from behind, but maybe still going for the original plan, Lando Norris and McLaren.
Do you know what, though, Harry? Charles Leclerc told me yesterday after qualifying that he was prepared to take a massive risk tomorrow for Ferrari. And he said he doesn't matter who he's fighting. He just wants to get a podium for this last race of the season. So watch out. Charles Leclerc is ready to bring it on.
If Lando Norris does indeed drop down to 4th and Max Verstappen wins this race, well, Max Verstappen will be crowned champion. Verstappen will need to win the race with Norris 4th or worse at the end of 58 laps. For Oscar Piastri to think about taking the title, he needs to win the race with Lando Norris 6th or worse. So right now this is nip and tuck between Verstappen and Lando Norris, but Piastri is also sitting in 2nd place. As we get another look at the race start, and Damon, it was really aggressive from Max Verstappen, who straight away cuts across to the left-hand side to hold off Lando Norris, who then slightly compromised through turn 1, had Oscar Piastri all up in his gearbox.
Yeah, and actually looking at it from the helicopter angle there, Harry, you'd have to say that what Lando was doing was trying to avoid getting right under the rear wing of Max, so that's why he moved to the right. It wasn't necessary to stop Oscar from trying to go around the outside, but a good start. I mean, they've got out of trouble. They've got a clean start on their hands. Max definitely was very aggressive, chopping across Lando, but the message was very clear. You're not going to come past me like that. And in a sense, Lando did the right thing, the sensible thing, by keeping himself out of trouble.
This is the sound of George Russell, who didn't get the best of starts, didn't get a great start last week in Qatar either, and immediately got swallowed by the pack behind. Had to take the wider line as the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin went wheel to wheel through the left-hand sweeper of turn 2, then again through the right-hander of 3. That's how George Russell lost positions at the start. Meanwhile, back out in front, Max Verstappen 2.3 seconds clear. And we're going to get another look as well at Oscar Piastri sweeping round the outside at turn 9. Norris didn't really fight it too much, but it was still a pretty magnificent, bold move from the young Australian. Managed to dip into the slipstream of his teammates, pull up alongside. Later on the brakes, round the outside, and that's how Piastri got up into 2nd.
Yeah, the DRS, the toe he got off of Lando helped him, didn't it? So he basically put his nose ahead, and Lando didn't fight it very wisely, you'd have to say, but he's now in the kind of optimum, minimum requirement position he's in. He's putting a bit of...
This is good for now, Max. We may wish to be going longer, so just keep on top.
That's Jean-Pierre Lambertse, Max Verstappen's race engineer, giving him confidence. They may wish to go longer, constantly monitoring the situation. If you started on the medium tyre, Pirelli, the tyre supply, predicting if you're going to do a one-stop, you want to come in maybe around between laps 20 to 26 to fit on the hard tyre till the end. But there's still a lot to play out here. Max Verstappen leads on lap 7 of 58 by 2.3 seconds to Oscar Piastri, with Lando Norris in third. Right now, the title goes to Lando Norris if it all ends like this.
Yeah, Lando has managed to stay on the very minimum requirement again with DRS gap to Charles Leclerc, who's managed to get DRS on him, so which means he's a second or less behind him on these straights. So he's getting an advantage and really causing a little bit of a problem for Lando. Lando needs to break the DRS if he possibly can, possibly get through the middle section as they are now around the harbour. He needs to get a push on to try and get a bit of a gap. So he's got just what he needs is 1.1 second, and then I don't think Charles will be able to stay with him.
It's like day and night, though, for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc compared to this time last week. Indeed, you just have to go back to a couple of days ago. Both Ferraris struggling. Lewis Hamilton put it in the wall in free practice 3. He started down in 16th. He's made his way up into 13th using the soft tyre to start with, giving him a little bit extra grip at the start, but that will wear away quickly. Lando Norris has been told on the radio, we've asked Oscar to pick up the pace a bit. So are McLaren managing this then? Because Norris is still within, Leclerc is still within the DRS range of Lando Norris. That Ferrari certainly putting pressure on Lando Norris, but are McLaren just managing things here? We know they were a little bit worried about tyre deg and the graining that they're experiencing on the tyres, slightly higher than expected coming to Yas Marina. Are they just in management mode in these early stages?
Yeah, and then typically Lando's very good at managing his tyres in the early part of the race to keep himself in a position where he can push later on. But of course, if he relaxes too much, radio.
Let's see if we can start putting Verstappen under pressure.
That's the message to Oscar Piastri. Let's see if we can start putting some pressure on Max Verstappen. But Charles Leclerc with a great exit out of the left-right chicane through turn 6 and 7 into the DRS zone. It curves through the left-hander of turn 8, gives you a 7/10 of an advantage over the car in front. He can see the blinking lights on the papaya car of Lando Norris ahead into the left-hander of turn 9. The corner comes too soon, but the gap certainly closing between Norris and Leclerc.
Yeah, what I was going to say was he's typically very good, Lando, at managing his tyres in order to push a bit later on. But I think that Oscar, the point they're making about Oscar is only 1.7 seconds up ahead. And you don't need to be that far away to actually produce very bad aerodynamics on the car behind. So he needs to get more clean air on Lando if he possibly can. That's why they're asking Oscar to push. Oscar is on the tougher tyre, so it is possible that he could push. But of course, graining means that when you go on a green track and start pushing the tyre, you get graining. It's very difficult to get the tyre to clean up, and also you get greater tyre wear as well. He doesn't want that.
Action in the pit lane. It's Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari along with Alex Albon in the Williams. Both started on the soft tyre, running out of grip early doors. Clean stops for the both of them, who started at the back of the pack. Hamilton 16th, Albon in 17th, and they will feed back into this race. Hamilton looks like he's come out on the hard tyre. I suspect Albon will do the same and try and long as run as they can. Back out in front, Verstappen leads by 2 seconds. Piastri has been told Verstappen has started graining on the front tyre. Damon, I suppose you could just explain a little bit about what that is, graining on a tyre.
So it's exactly what I was just talking about. What happens is instead of the tyre sort of squirming across the track surface by being hot enough, what it does is it starts to cut, so it gets little bits of dirt in the tyre, and instead of the tyre being smooth and sticky, it becomes dry and it starts to ridge up, and that means that it's almost like having a tread on the tyre, which they don't want. The reason they have slicks is because they want all the rubber on the road, and when it grains, you don't get turn in, you go up to the corner, you start pushing, and of course that makes it worse.
Nico Hülkenberg was also the other driver that came in to get rid of his soft tyre, so he falls to the back of the pack in his Sauber. Lap 10 of 58 here in Abu Dhabi as the sun continues to set and the sky becomes quite a bright glow of orange before it will dip into darkness, and the floodlights already coming on to illuminate this circuit. Just over 5.2 kilometres, 3.2 miles in length, with 16 turns, 9 that go to the left and 7 that go to the right. It's Max Verstappen who leads this Grand Prix from pole position after an aggressive start to keep hold of that place. Now has a 2.1 second lead over Oscar Piastri, who started in third. Verstappen on the medium, Piastri on the hard tyre, going long into this race, but with a spectacular move around his teammate Lando Norris on the medium tyre, round the outside through the left-hander at turn 9. Norris now down into third and trying to keep Charles Leclerc's Ferrari at bay in fourth. Russell with a poor start down to fifth ahead of Alonso. He's got Bortoleto right behind him, and I suspect there may well be an Alonso train developing in the lower points down through the midfield, because Hadjar, Ocon, Tsunoda, Lawson, Behrman, Sainz, Stroll, Antonelli are all pretty close behind each other, ranging from 6th place all the way down to 15th. Then comes Gasly, Colapinto, Hamilton, Hülkenberg and Albon. There's been an incident involving Lawson and Behrman driving erratically, and an incident involving that has been now upgraded to under investigation. So the stewards are busy with those further back in the pack. Up front, Norris has been told, "We think Verstappen's graining has started. Your tyres look in better condition than his." So that will give Lando some positivity there.
Yeah, and Lando has actually broken the 1 second barrier. Leclerc is now 1.2 seconds behind him. He managed to get into close enough to get DRS again on the previous lap, and he's closing that gap down again, so it's a bit irritating for Lando at the moment. I'm sure he'd be much happier if he didn't have to worry about that. He could start managing a bit better, but yeah, if the gap is still pretty static, 2 seconds from Verstappen to Oscar Piastri, but if he's getting graining, then he will not be able to push in the way that he wants to. That's Max Verstappen.
This is the sound of the Dutchman who is searching for his 5th World Championship come the end of the checkered flag. He's doing everything he needs to do, but right now it is not enough. With Lando Norris finishing inside the top 3, regardless of where his rivals Verstappen or Piastri end up, he will be crowned champion, and he is on his way to doing that. But we still have pit stops to come. We still have temperatures to drop and tyres to slowly degrade, and we've already seen a little bit of action further back in the pack. There was a collision involving Pierre Gasly and Nico Hülkenberg. That's been investigated by race control. No further action, but all it takes is for someone further back to find themselves in the wall or in trouble, and suddenly this race can be turned on its head.
As the light starts to fade, the sun has already gone down, and it's getting a little bit twilighty. There's not much wind. It's actually a camera I'm just watching. I can still see the sun right on the horizon, but it's pretty soon it's going to be dark, and the track temperature will drop. What effect will that have on the tyres? I think it may be interesting, because I think that will happen about the time that they'll be coming in for a pit stop. So they're on like 10 or so laps, I think. How many laps did you say, Harry, was this first likely to be on the medium?
Maybe if you can make it to around lap 20, 26 on the medium tyre. Those are the estimates from Pirelli, from Max Verstappen. That's what he started. If you started on the hard tyre like Oscar Piastri, you want to look to go further than that, to around about lap 39 to 45, give or take.
Well, I can tell you someone who's not in tyre preservation mode, and that's Charles Leclerc, who's pushing like crazy just to keep up with the McLarens. But it does look like this time Lando has shaking him off his tail, and actually I think we're now going to see Charles dropping back, and indeed he does look like he's dropping behind enough that Lando can then concentrate on his tyre preservation and the strategy that he has sat down with Will Joseph and the team to deliver the World Championship that he needs.
Oscar Piastri in second, still fairly consistent and pushing. Last lap around was his fastest lap, and he's just gone over the line again, and is still in the 1:29.4s. Lando Norris a couple of tenths slower in the 1:29.6s. Charles Leclerc last lap around a 1:36, so a few tenths adrift now is Leclerc of Norris, and starting to fall back is the Ferrari man, who starts his 150th race for the Scuderia, only behind Kimi Räikkönen and Michael Schumacher on that front.
Yeah, we're not going to see any of them coming in just yet, because that would bring them out right in the middle of the traffic, so there just isn't enough of a gap further back down the field for these front runners to make a pit stop just yet.
Lando Norris is told my graining is definitely picking up, so tyre degradation starting to impact Lando Norris here, but right now on lap 13 of 58 here in Abu Dhabi, with Norris in third, Piastri in second and Verstappen leading this Grand Prix, Norris would take the championship crown, but still a way to go. We've got action in the WSL across the day. Let's head to the King Power Stadium. Leicester City against Manchester City. Nikesh Ragani.
Still 0-0 here in the second half. Man City, the leaders, continue to create lots of opportunities, but no goals yet. Leicester hanging on by a thread. It's Leicester City 0, Man City 0.
Over at Lee Sports Village, it's Manchester United against Everton. Nathan Auburn.
Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. United's number 10 with her 10th of the season. Cross from the left and Elizabeth Turland's side footing home. Manchester United 1, West Ham 0.
Actually, the WSL updates continuing to come your way from 5 Live here. You're listening to the final Formula One race of the season. Race 24 of 24, introduced last year, 24 race season, the longest in Formula One history, continues on into 2025 before we rip up the rulebook in 2026 with brand new regulations, new teams, new drivers, as well as we bid a few farewells this evening here in Abu Dhabi. Update from race control, 5-second time penalty for Liam Lawson, driving erratically. That's being investigated while he was fighting with Ollie Behrman. Lawson is currently ahead of Behrman by less than a second in 11th place. Out of the points at the moment. Meanwhile, his teammate, Isaac Hadjar, is up in 8th and starting to have a bit of pressure applied from Esteban Ocon. Now, naturally, we're focusing very much about this championship fight, but there are scores to be settled in the midfield pack as well between Racing Bulls and Aston Martin, Haas and Sauber, who are all separated by, well, less than 25 points at the moment in the battle for 6th place in the constructors. Right now it's going the way of Racing Bulls, but we'll keep an eye on that as it unfolds. Hadjar looking at 8th, Ocon at 9th, but Bortoletto bagging some good points for Sauber in 7th currently, and Fernando Alonso going well for Aston Martin in 6th. So that is how that battle is unfolding, as George Russell is told to come into the pits. Okay, so this is first really of our front runners. George Russell slows down to 80 kilometres an hour, peels into his Mercedes pit box, and Rosanna Tennant can see it all.
And the mechanics are ready to set to work. He goes up and down very quickly, a 2.3 stop. So not the fastest we've seen, but a very good stop from the Mercedes pit crew. And it has triggered a chain reaction. Everybody else diving into the pits. Isaac Hadjar as well for the Racing Bulls. He's back out there on a 2.6 stop time. And Ollie Behrman as well. A slower stop for the Haas team. 3 seconds standing still for Behrman. And they're heading back out there. I wonder who else will come in soon, Harry.
Yeah, and this is earlier than I think we anticipated. And a unique exit out of the pit lane as well. As you head towards the end of the pit lane, you dip down and turn left and head underneath the track through a tunnel, and then you pop up through the exit of the right-hand sweeper of turn 3. So for George Russell, he peels out, having been in 5th spot. He falls further down the field and comes out in 14th spot. So I wonder, maybe we're seeing slightly higher deg than anticipated, or indeed is it just to try and get yourself out of what was becoming a bit of a train? We weren't seeing too much overtaking.
Yeah, and as we see that, some of the guys coming into fit new tyres, we're seeing Oscar Piastri pick up the pace. He's on a harder tyre, more durable, white-walled, hard tyre, the hardest in the range, and he's picked up the pace a bit and actually put up the fastest lap.
A little bit of action from the pit lane. The McLaren mechanics come out, steps outside their garage, but then come back in again, thinking about Lando Norris perhaps coming in, or Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari as well is still within distance. Could Charles Leclerc try an undercut here, pitting before the driver in front of him to try and get the benefit of fresh air and fresh tyres? Gabriel Bortoletto in the Sauber comes in, having been racing down in 7th as he heads out onto the pit road, having been down in 7th and falls out of the points, but he switches onto the hard tyre. Lap 16 of 58, Verstappen leads Piastri, then Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc still very much keeping within distance. Alonso 5th, the top 5 yet to pit in this race.
Well, there isn't anywhere to pit into in a way, is there? I mean, we're looking at where
and keep building this gap on Leclerc. It gives us choices.
Lando Norris being told to build that gap between himself and Leclerc. At the moment it's 2 seconds, but we'll try and give them some strategic options. That's what Will Joseph says to Lando Norris from pit wall. Rosanna.
I think what this is telling us is that the cars and the drivers and the teams are all experiencing graining, so they've come in earlier. I was talking to the boss at Pirelli, Mario Sola, on the grid as we hear Alonso being asked to box. I think Alonso was the person that triggered it, really, because George Russell couldn't get by, and we have got Lando Norris into the pit lane, Harry.
Into the pit lane, hits his marks, and this needs to be tidy, this needs to be quick from the McLaren mechanics, and it looks like it has been. Gets quite a lot of wheel spin and has to avoid the Ferrari mechanics as well, who come out for Charles Leclerc, who reacts. Leclerc feeds out into the pit lane too. It's 2.1 seconds for Lando Norris. Ocon goes up to third, followed by Yuki Tsunoda. Let's see then where Lando Norris feeds out along with Charles Leclerc. So Norris then and McLaren deciding to come into pit and fit on the hard tyres. He feeds out through the right-hand sweeper of turn 3, and he's got traffic in front of him in the form of the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli.
Oscar, do you think we can do plan A? Thoughts on plan A? I think it's doable for now.
Plan A for Oscar Piastri sounds doable for Piastri, the Australian who still sits in second, but he started on the hard tyre. So Norris in then, but into traffic, Damon.
Yeah, that was one of those moments, wasn't he? It was almost like he was doing extreme drifting coming out of his pit spot there and going very sideways, lots of wheel spin. It was a bit of a worrying moment because that's the sort of thing that you just don't account for, you know, maybe clouting a Ferrari or something on the way out of the pit. Anyway, he's got out, he's cleanly on the track now, and he's just going to probably, I would say, DRS past the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli. He's on fresher tyres. He should be able to stick with them through the infield section and then just cleanly get past them as a cut through these back markers, hopefully, and dispatch them and make some progress, because he's currently losing time because he's in a bunch of cars, whilst the chaps at the front, Verstappen and Piastri, are pulling away in clean air.
Lap 18 of 58 here in Abu Dhabi. It's Max Verstappen who leads this race. Oscar Piastri second. Here's Russell.
That's not moving under braking. I don't know what it is. Literally as I brake to move.
That's a message over the team radio. Just clarification, it's over in the WSL. It's Man United against West Ham, and it is 1-1 right now. We will continue to give you updates from Lee Sports Village as that unfolds across 5 Live. You're listening to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix as Kimi Antonelli tries to have a little fight back at Lando Norris down the back straight, who manages to get through on the Mercedes driver. The Mercedes driver yet to pit. Norris has done, and now gets a good run on the back of Carlos Sainz's Williams. His friend and old teammate doesn't put up too much of a fight. They are not in the same race, and by the time they get to the left-hand sweeper, Norris is up a position ahead of Carlos Sainz and up into 7th. Verstappen leads Piastri, 1.7 seconds between the two, and yet to pit. Let's head over to 5 Live Race Centre. Andrew Benson.
So what's interesting here is Norris has come out in 9th place. In 4th place in the Red Bull is Yuki Tsunoda. He's about 5-6 seconds ahead of Norris. Norris will catch him quickly, but Tsunoda's on the hard tyres and he will stay out, or can stay out. And remember what happened here 4 years ago. Lewis Hamilton got held up behind Sergio Perez, who was Max Verstappen's teammate at the time, and in the end that was decisive in that late safety car period when Hamilton couldn't pit for fresh tyres. He didn't have the gap on Verstappen, and then the way the race director messed up the rules and restarted the race in the way that he shouldn't have done, Verstappen ended up coming through to win the championship. So let's see what happens when Norris catches Tsunoda. I think there's a bit of tension awaiting in the race in that scenario.
Still a lot to play out then as Lando Norris continues to pick off his rivals. Lance Stroll is next with the aid of DRS. Then will come Liam Lawson, who's right in front of him. And is it going to be 2 in 1? Sparks fly from the underside of the Papaya McLaren down the inside at the chicane through 6 and 7. And it's nicely done for Lando Norris, who gets himself up into 5th. He is now behind Yuki Tsunoda by about 3.9 seconds. Tsunoda started in 10th on the hard tyre and is staying out there. Verstappen's getting nervous about us. Oscar, let's push him up as Liam Lawson fights back on the McLaren of Lando Norris through the left-hander of turn 9. I'm not sure if Norris was expecting that. Had to get his elbows out. Lawson isn't giving up without a fight. Lawson in the Racing Bulls, the Red Bull sister team, putting up a fight against the McLaren of Lando Norris, who is in a championship battle with Red Bull's Max Verstappen.
Another anxious moment there at turn 9 for Lando as the car goes around the outside of him, and when you think you don't want someone to cut in on you and maybe damage your front wing. But anyway, what happened there was that Lando got the move done on Lawson. We're watching a replay at the moment. I'm just trying to work out what this is. This is Charles Leclerc, who's actually the threat to Lando, but hopefully Lando has got the measure of him, because that would be the third place that he desperately needs. And we're watching the progress of Charles Leclerc now, who's making his way through the field just as Lando has done. But the gap to Charles is the worry for Lando. He needs to really get enough distance between himself and Charles. Charles is following the moves of Lando as he goes through the field and starts to clear the back markers. He goes past Liam Lawson, and now he is he's got clear track between himself and Lando Norris, but I don't know if he's got the pace.
So, lap 20 of 58 here as the sun has now set in Abu Dhabi on the final race of the year. The floodlights come on. Max Verstappen leads this race, has done from pole position. He's on the medium tyre, yet to pit. He's got 2 seconds over Oscar Piastri, who started third, is now up to second, but started on the hard tyre. Yuki Tsunoda in the other Red Bull started down in 10th, was put on the hard tyre right from the very start, could now be a factor in this Grand Prix and try and cause a blockage behind him, because that is Verstappen's rival Lando Norris in 4th, who is closing in on the Japanese driver. Leclerc is 5th, having dispatched Lawson and Stroll. Russell is pitted and is currently in 8th, ahead of teammate Antonelli. Hamilton rounds out the top 10 right now. Hamilton started in 16th on the soft tyre, so it's working out for Lewis Hamilton at the moment. Hulkenberg 11th, Alonso down to 12th, then comes Bortoletto, Albon, Hadjar the top 15, Behrman, Ocon, Sainz, Gasly and Colapinto. The 20 drivers all still racing.
Okay, I just want to give you this information. This is a message from Tsunoda's engineer. The car behind you now is Norris. Now, I'm not saying that means anything, but they're just letting him know.
Okay, we expect Norris to be your DRS within 1 lap. All you can when he catches.
Confirmation then from Yuki Tsunoda's pit wall. All you can when he catches. Defend for your life, Yuki Tsunoda.
Which is what we saw from Sergio Perez 4 years ago. He was absolutely right on the limit, sometimes a little bit over it, some people would argue, in defending against Lewis Hamilton. Of course, Hamilton couldn't take any risks with him. He couldn't risk a collision. He knows that Tsunoda doesn't care about whether he has a collision or not. So this is really, really the most tense moment of the race for Norris so far, as he catches Tsunoda coming through the marina section under the hotel and heading towards the last corner, a couple of corners of the lap, Harry.
Yeah, it curves through the left hand of the wall, so inviting on the exit there. They both negotiate it and make their way through as it quickly rounds the final 2 corners. Yuki Tsunoda responds with, I know what to do, so leave it to me. Echoes of Kimi Räikkönen on his way to race victory here back in 2012, but race victory not on the cards for Yuki Tsunoda this afternoon as he bids farewell to Formula One as a full-time driver. He'll be Red Bull's test and reserve driver next year, as Isaac Hadjar will get the promotion from Racing Bulls and line up alongside Max Verstappen. Will Verstappen be a 4-time world champion or a 5-time world champion in 2026? We are still yet to find out. But Tsunoda now in 3rd, hasn't pitted, about to fight for his teammate and a fight for his life to keep Lando Norris behind. If Max Verstappen wins this race and Norris is 4th or lower, Max Verstappen is the world champion. Right now, if it all ended like this, Max Verstappen would be crowned champion by 1 point. But Lando Norris in that McLaren is fast. He's on fresher tyres. How feasible, Damon, is this for Tsunoda to keep him behind?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but I'm reminded of the 1964 Grand Prix, which my dad didn't manage to win the World Championship in, because John Surtees in the Ferrari's teammate, Bandini, I think it was, who was being lapped, caused him all sorts of trouble. In fact, there was so much disagreement because there wasn't television in those days, so nobody knows exactly what happened. But something happened to cause my dad to lose some time, and Ferrari won the World Championship with John Surtees in 1964. When that was the last time, that was a 3-way title fight. So here we come now with Lando Norris approaching Tsunoda, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see whether Tsunoda has got any tricks up his sleeve. I fully expect him to be very sporting, but he's still got a job with Red Bull, so he's been asked probably to do something. We don't know what he's going to do yet, and this was sort of what we predicted, wasn't it? All he has to do is cost time to Lando. At the moment, Lando's concern is Charles Leclerc, who's behind him, is only 1.6 seconds.
Well, let's see how quickly he almost runs him off the road down the back straight. Yuki Tsunoda trying for all his might, but Lando Norris, with the aid of DRS, bounces almost all four wheels off the track. It's in a straight line. There's enough runoff there, and by the time he exits the chicane, Norris is through. That's all Tsunoda could do. I was about to say Charles Leclerc was closing in on this fight. If Tsunoda could hold him up just enough. He's coming back with DRS, though, is Yuki Tsunoda into the left-hander of turn 9, but can't manage it. He fails. Max Verstappen is told to box and heads into the pit lane from the lead of this race and peels into his pit box. Rosanna.
And I think he had to. I think that move Norris made on Tsunoda was critical. So in he came, and it was a 2.3 stop time for Max Verstappen and the Red Bull mechanics, and he's back out into the fast lane already. And we've got a new race leader now, Oscar Piastri. And Harry, Pirelli told me on the grid that this hard tyre could last 40 laps easily. So Piastri is looking to go seriously long here now.
And all it takes is for some kind of safety car neutralisation of the race, and Piastri's winning.
You've got some clear air. Let's see how this tyre recovers.
And Piastri is told, you've got clear air now, you're in the race leads, and that will be nice for your tyres. Let's hope the graining on those tyres clears up and you can get back up to speed. So Max Verstappen pits then, loses the lead of this race to Piastri. We're hearing the sound of Lando Norris, Damon, down the back straight in the DRS and the toe of Yuki Tsunoda, who was driving in the middle of the road, forced Norris to the left-hand side. Not a lot of room between the track and the wall there for Norris.
And it was a very worrying moment, that I have to say, because we're watching the replay, and he's had to go all over the debris on the side of the track, the bits of rubber that is there. He's nearly hit the barrier on the left-hand side. He really took a massive risk overtaking Tsunoda on that particular part of the track. He could have waited till after the chicane, and he would have had the DRS.
Now, there's an incident noted between Tsunoda and Norris, and I wonder if that's overtaking off the track. Norris did have to go over the white line as Tsunoda came across on him on the inside. If he's overtaken off the track, then, well, if the stewards deem that to have been a deliberate action that he couldn't avoid, then he could be in trouble with a penalty, which would be around about 5 seconds.
He might have to give the place back.
Yeah, but then he's going to lose a lot of time if he does that. So it's jeopardy either way.
Well, it's one of those situations. He has to do it now if he's going to do it. He can't. The longer he leaves it, if they give him a 10-second penalty at the end of the race, and Leclerc.
Well, that 25 of 58. Piastri leads. Verstappen peels back out in second. Norris is third, and Yuki Tsunoda falls down to fifth as Charles Leclerc gets ahead of him as well. Tsunoda staying out for as long as he can. So I'm not sure how we can quite get that place back now. But Piastri in the hot seat, trying to stay out for as long as he can. That hard time may well run very late into this race, but with Piastri yet to pit, Verstappen has done in second, Norris in third. Right now, if it ended like this, it would still leave Lando Norris as world champion for 2025, but there are still stories to be told in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Action from the WSL at the King Power Stadium, Leicester City, Man City. It is 1-0 Man City on that front. We'll keep you updated with that throughout the course of the Grand Prix right here on 5 Live. Andrew Benson.
The other thing to say is that usually the car that may have committed the offence is listed first in these situations, and in this case it's Tsunoda. So I wonder if it's something else. I wonder if it's the weaving down the straight that's got the steward's attention rather than Norris's move itself.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the same thing. I think it could be that Tsunoda did not give Lando enough room.
Here we are.
Forcing the driver off the track.
Forcing the driver off the track is what the steward's notice says on the television screens at the moment. So
that is a few moment for Lando, really.
Well,
McLaren,
as there's still a small tinge of pink hue in the air as the sun finally sets here in Abu Dhabi. The floodlights illuminate the Yas Marina circuit. It is lap 26 of 58. Oscar Piastri leads on the hard tyre by over 17 seconds. He's yet to pit. Update on the Norris-Tsunoda incident. It's under investigation, leaving the track and gaining an advantage through turn 5. for Lando Norris.
Reverse that.
Now, if he gets penalised for that, it's normally 5 seconds. Normally, you can't be sure in these situations. At the moment, Norris is 2.2 seconds ahead of Leclerc, so he would lose that place to Leclerc. But then he's got the chance to build the gap, so that if the penalty does hit and it is 5 seconds, he doesn't lose the place at the end of the race. Because let's not forget, at the moment, with Piastri leading the race, Verstappen second and Norris third. Norris is champion. If Verstappen gets back in the lead after his pit stop, then Verstappen is champion if Norris drops behind Charles Leclerc into fourth place. But there's another scenario there in that situation. Oscar Piastri would be asked on the last lap or thereabouts to drop back behind Norris, so Norris got into the top three.
Well, we will keep you updated with that, under investigation right now for Lando Norris with Yuki Tsunoda. Norris currently in third, Tsunoda is actually in fifth. Last lap around, Charles Leclerc, who's in between them, set the fastest lap of the race and starting to close slowly on Norris ahead. 1.9 seconds the gap between them.
What I would say is we can't have it can't be both things. You can't have someone guilty of forcing another driver off the track and then someone else guilty of overtaking off the track, or at least not in any sane world. Whether the FIA is a sane world is a different question, but I'll just leave that one there.
Well, what it seems to be saying is that they are sitting there debating whether it was one car overtaking, gaining an advantage, or the other car that ran him off, and they haven't decided yet. But they've let us know that both incidences and interpretations are under investigation, adding a massive amount of tension to this race and the permutations of the thing that we were talking about potentially coming to play, which would be that Oscar Piastri might be asked to give up a place in order to make Lando Norris world champion, at least a McLaren driver a world champion.
Yeah, so that is Tsunoda for forcing another driver off the track, and then Norris for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So we'll see what the result of that is. Leclerc is told this pace is mega well done, and he is picking up the pace down in fourth.
Should we just ask the racing driver in our midst what he makes of the incident? What do you reckon?
Well, I think he was first of all, I don't think he should have gone for the move on that particular straight, because he had the following straight, which is also a DRS zone, and he would have got cleanly past, and then Tsunoda would have had nothing he could have done, because he would have been through the middle section where presumably Lando would have got a big enough gap. But he went for it and he kept his foot in. I mean, he went off the track on a very dirty part of the track. It was a really risky thing to do. So either brave or foolhardy. I'm sort of in two minds about that.
Back out onto the circuit, and we're just getting a little look at something that happened earlier on between Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes and Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin with the aid of DRS. Alonso getting through on Antonelli, who also was that a similar situation, but on the other side of the back straight, Alonso almost four wheels off the circuit as he was overtaking there.
To help our listeners, what we've just seen is we see a long shot of Fernando going past Antonelli, but Antonelli did not squeeze Fernando Alonso. Alonso chose to go off the track virtually down the straight, but he definitely went clean off the painted boundary of the track, over the painted edge of the track. So I would say that could be construed as overtaking off the track.
Well, they've shown it to us for a reason, but nothing has popped up onto the race control boards yet on that front.
So at the front, Max Verstappen is closing in now on Oscar Piastri at about 7/10 a lap, as you would expect on fresh tyres, with Oscar Piastri on tyres at 28 laps old. So McLaren have a decision to make about when they pit Piastri to give him a chance to come back at Verstappen on fresher tyres and try and retake the lead if that's possible. 21 seconds for a pit stop, let's not forget, and the longer you leave it, the bigger that margin is going to be to try and catch Verstappen at the end of the race.
So, yeah, about 21 seconds for a pit stop under green flag condition. It halves to around about 14 and a half seconds if we get a safety car or a virtual safety car. So Piastri right on the fringes of that, but running out of time for that pit window. But he will have those fresher tyres coming out on the medium tyre to go to the end and see if he can do a bit of overtaking out on track. Lap 29 of 58, it is Piastri who leads. That gap is 15.2 seconds to Verstappen. Then it's a further 4.5 seconds back to Lando Norris. Leclerc fourth, Tsunoda fifth, Russell is in sixth, Then comes Stroll, Hamilton, Alonso, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Behrman and Albon the top 15, with Hadjar, Sainz, Gasly, Colapinto and Lawson. 20 drivers all still in the field. Update from race control, 5-second time penalty for Yuki Tsunoda. More than one change of direction. So that's the first one dealt with. Damon, thoughts on that? And actually, quick update, turn 5 incident involving Norris and Tsunoda. No further action, leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
So the FIA is a sane world. You can't have it both ways.
Oh, they dealt with that very brilliantly, I think. I mean, actually, I would agree with them. I think that was probably more Tsunoda leaving no room for Lando Norris to get past, so he was forced in a way to. He was already committed, and he had to basically move over off the track to avoid being hit by Tsunoda. But anyway, I was just looking at the lap times. Lando Norris has done the quickest lap of the race. He's pulled a gap on Charles Leclerc, so that is really good news. The gap is now 2 seconds from Norris to Charles.
Lap 30 of 58, Piastri heads the field, yet to pit, 14 seconds clear of Max Verstappen, who's closing. Lando Norris sets the fastest lap last time around in third. Both Verstappen and Norris have pitted. If it all ends like this, Lando Norris is world champion, but we're still waiting to see what the closing half of this race brings us. Update and goals scored in the WSL. It's now 2-0 Man City against Leicester City, 2-0 to Man City, and over with Manchester United and West Ham, it's 2-1 Man United over in the WSL. Continued updates across 5 Live. You're listening to 5 Live F1 and the finale of the 2025 Formula 1 season here in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit as the floodlights come on. A race that starts in the sun and ends at night with the moon shining bright in the clouds above us that almost light up as a slight orange tinge in the air as the sun slowly, it has set, but it's nearly not quite there.
Supermoon.
Is it?
It's a fading. Yeah, we had a few days ago. We had the supermoon, but meaning it was bigger than normal or something. Anyway, it was fantastic. As I was watching the moon over the stadium as we watched Metallica last night.
Oh, is that where you ran off
That's
to?
where we went to. Yeah. So I'm now a Metallica fan. As of yesterday.
Did you go with a certain other commentator by any chance?
I did. I was almost dragged there, but anyway, by the other commentator. But anyway, it was fantastic. They put on an incredible event here in Abu Dhabi. So many people here have come out and enjoyed the delights of the warm air and the sunshine. It's not too hot, but that's such a beautiful sight when the sun goes down. As you say, it's sort of that weird orangey glow that you have in the sky. The question that we have remaining now is when Oscar Piastri has to pit. He hasn't pitted yet, but if he comes out, he'll come out right behind Charles Leclerc. So there's a good window, and he'll be on fresher tyres. So Max Verstappen puts up the fastest lap of the race, so he's closing down Oscar. I reckon we're going to see Oscar coming. There's 26 laps to go, so I think he could get medium.
We've been given a 5-second penalty for moving twice on a defence of Norris.
Penalty? A penalty ball.
We've got a penalty for moving twice in defence to Norris. Head down.
Yuki Tsunoda told to get his head down, having been given a 5-second time penalty. Rosanna, you've got more on this.
Yeah, Zach Brown, the McLaren CEO, has reacted to that decision. He said it was clearly the right decision. It was a dangerous and unnecessary manoeuvre from Tsunoda, even if he sounded a little incredulous on the radio, being told that he had picked up that penalty.
Thanks, Rosanna. That's Rosanna Tennant down in pit lane. Up in the commentary box, it's the BBC's F1 correspondent Andrew Benson, the 1996 Formula 1 world champion Damon Hill, and myself, Harry Benjamin, calling all the action as Lewis Hamilton heads downhill out of the pit exit underneath the tunnel and feeds back out into this race, making his second stop of the day, having started on the soft tyre, which wears very quickly, moved on to the hard tyre, and now that should be his final stop of the race, but unfortunately for him, he feeds out in 19th position, so points might be a far cry for the 7-time world champion this evening, who started down in 16th. Oscar Piastri still leads this race. The gap between himself and Max Verstappen is coming down, though. Piastri has not pitted. The gap is 11.1 seconds, with Max Verstappen fastest of anybody last lap around. round. Lando Norris is still in this fight as well, and right now, if it ends like this, Norris will be crowned the 2025 Formula One World Champion. He sits in third, and this is the sound of Lando Norris chasing down Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc is in fourth for Ferrari, with George Russell in fifth for Mercedes. Yuki Tsunoda, who you heard on the radio there a few moments ago, has a 5-second time penalty to serve, which he will do now as he comes into the pits in what is his final race as a full-time Formula One driver. No further pit stops planned for Yuki. Well, he hasn't actually. He is coming in now for that pit stop, but they can't do anything until the 5 seconds has elapsed. Then they change the tyres and they put the medium tyre on for him, and Antonelli also follows suit. The Italian in the Mercedes takes his first pit stop and heads back out to a long first stint, having been embroiled in quite a midfield battle, keeping Esteban Ocon behind in the Haas. Ocon getting quite frustrated, even with DRS. Managed to get alongside Kimi Antonelli last lap around, down the back straight, into the braking zone, got in front of his Italian rival, and there is still a fierce battle going on in that mid-pack. Right now, the battle for sixth is between Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, Haas and Sauber. If it ends like this, well, Aston Martin are going to pip it just at the very end of this season and take sixth place in the Constructors' Championship ahead of Racing Bulls, Haas and Sauber. But there's absolutely nothing splitting some of those teams, particularly Aston Martin and Racing Bulls, just 2 points separating them, and again another 3 points just separating Haas and Sauber. But out in front, it's Piastri who leads, yet to stop. Verstappen second, hunting him down in the Red Bull, and Norris sitting in third. Verstappen and Norris have stopped. If it ends like this, Norris is champion.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting to watch the pace of Oscar Piastri when he goes to medium tyres, because he will be most probably the fastest person on the track, but he'll have to be, because he's going to have to make up some ground, get past Charles Leclerc, and also
Basically, we need our fastest in to the end, Max. We don't want to give away too much race time to Piastri, who will undoubtedly be relatively quick on his medium.
That's what GP is told from Max Verstappen.
It's like he's listening to me. Anyway, so that is the situation. But he hasn't pitted yet, and we're watching now some pictures from the McLaren garage. Looks like they are getting the tyres out now for Oscar, who's almost certainly coming in very, very soon, if not this lap, the next lap. And we will come to the rescue of Lando. Not that he needs it right now. Lando doing a fine job, doing everything he needs to. He's in a good, solid third place there. And, well, you know, we've got safety cars that can happen. We've still got loads that can happen. And we just don't know what it is yet. But at the moment, it's looking very good for Lando Norris's plans to become world champion.
It certainly is. Piastri doing everything he can. Both McLaren drivers throughout the year playing the team game. A fairness first philosophy delivered by Andrea Stella, the team principal, Zach Brown, the CEO, giving both their drivers equal fighting opportunity.
And Lando doing a great job compared to Leclerc. He might pit soon and go on a 2, in which case we cover him the next lap.
Okay then. So if Charles Leclerc comes in for another pit stop and migrates onto a 2 stop, it sounds like McLaren will react to that, not wanting to be undercut by Charles Leclerc. Last lap around, both on the hard tyre. Lando Norris still about 4/10 quicker than Charles Leclerc, but Ferrari giving it everything and not afraid to fight here and get involved in this title fight, because they want to see out the year with a podium.
Yeah, this is definitely giving them a little bit of a fillip, you know, encouragement, seeing what Charles is doing with the car, and not competitive in terms of being able to win the race, but they're much more competitive than they were looking not so long ago, particularly in Qatar.
Lap 36 of 58. Oscar Piastri, like a shining beacon, carves his way through the floodlit circuit that is Yas Marina, through the left-hander of turn number 5, which sets you up down that long 1.2 kilometre back straight. Will Piastri come in at the end of this lap for his first pit stop, and ideally first and last, and he'll be quick towards the end of this race? Can he disrupt anything at the close? He'll lose positions, he'll drop behind his title rivals, but right now, even by winning the race, he would not seal the World Championship. Had a rough run of things, did Oscar Piastri, in the last 5 races preceding Qatar. Refound his form in Qatar. He's looked strong here as well, building throughout the course of a weekend, but the damage was done in what has been one of the tightest and greatest comebacks from Max Verstappen, at least, in a Formula One season for quite some time. That's the sound of Lewis Hamilton. You just heard overtaking Franco Colapinto in the Alpine. It's only 15th place, though, for Hamilton, who pitted a couple of laps ago. Second pit stop for him, now out there on the medium tyre. Piastri now 7.4 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Then comes Lando Norris in third. If it ends like this, Norris is champion. Piastri stays out another lap, not coming into the pits just yet. Here's his radio.
How's this tyre now? Rear starting to get a bit worse now. Okay.
Rear tyre starting to get a bit worse for Oscar Piastri now.
I always feel like saying, do you want a cup of tea while you're driving, Oscar? He doesn't sound like he's in the least bit phased, does he?
No, in fact, all weekend long he's been laughing along, very casual, very relaxed, and I wonder if it was at the end of Qatar last week where he really felt that the championship had slipped through his fingers and there was no way back for him, having been really denied race victory after that strategy call when the safety car came out in the first few laps of the race and neither McLaren driver pitted. Piastri, who had been on a brilliant run all weekend long, would have had victory if they had pitted, and lost out in the end. Still finished on the podium, but lost crucial points in this fight. But we'll unpick the bones of this championship season on the Checker Flag podcast on BBC Sounds with a big season review in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll be reviewing this race and whoever becomes world champion at the close. Lando Norris on his way to his first Formula One World Championship. Now, is Oscar Piastri going to come into the pits this lap around? No, he's not. Stays out for another go at it. So the rear tyre is starting to go away, but still keeping things in check. Maybe just eking out that gap slightly to see if there might be some drama further down the field that may suddenly bring out a safety car intervention. That'll half the pit stop, the pit loss time from 21 down to about 14.5 seconds. So that could be of benefit for Piastri. But right now, everyone's keeping it clean.
Yeah, well, the way they're going, they've got a 20 lap. Of course, this is now they're getting into the situation where if you leave it any longer, you're not going to have enough laps, no matter how fast you are. So I'm sure they've done their maths right, but it's got to come in next lap, surely.
Well, he will drop behind Verstappen and Lando Norris. Verstappen will retake the lead of this Grand Prix. Gap between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, who sits second and third, is 6 seconds. Max Verstappen, fastest of anybody last lap around, 1:27.7. Norris only a tenth behind him with a 1:27.8. Under investigation, there's an incident involving Alex Albon further down the field for speeding in the pit lane. That's usually a fairly clear-cut penalty that will come the way of the Thai driver, who is 20th and last, having taken a second pit stop. So expect him to have to come through the pits again and serve another penalty. Piastri, 3.9 seconds now the gap between him and Verstappen. Norris third, Leclerc, Russell the top 5, Stroll up into 6th. He's the other runner that has yet to pit. Alonso is 7th, Bortoleto is 8th, Ocon is 9th. In fact, Ocon is about to dive down the outside of Gabriel Bortoleto into the chicane, through the left-hander of 6, onto the throttle at the right-hander of 7, and demotes Bortoleto down to 9th. But can the Sauber driver come back at him? These two teams embroiled in a tight fight for 7th in the Constructors' Championship. Make that 8th as well. Right now it's going the way of Haas, with Ocon overtaking Gabriel Bortoleto, and the other Haas driver of Behrman up inside the top 10 as well. Ocon 8th, Bortoleto 9th, Behrman in 10th. That's how the outside, or the bottom half of the top 10 looks. Piastri still out in front. Full time at the King Power Stadium. Nikesh Ragani.
Where it finished, Leicester City 0, Manchester City 3. It's now 9 wins in a row for the WSL leaders, who are playing like a team possessed. The first half frustrating for them, several good chances missed, but in the second, more killer instinct. Khadija Shaw scored her 7th and 8th goals of the season, and Carolyn got the 3rd in stoppage time. For Leicester, it's still just 1 win all season. It finished Leicester City 0, Manchester City 3.
And it's kicked off in the Premier League. Brighton against West Ham at the Amex Stadium, and we'll have commentary of that over on Sports Extra. You're listening to 5 Live Formula One, live from Abu Dhabi at the final race of this 2025 season, where we are on the cusp of crowning our champion. And right now it's going the way of Lando Norris, who's sitting in third. That will effectively become second when his teammate Oscar Piastri pits, and Max Verstappen will take the lead back of this race, and he is continually closing on Oscar Piastri. Can see him now. Piastri yet to pit, staying out as long as he can, and I just wonder here, with Piastri's chances looking incredibly slim as Charles Leclerc comes into the pits at the end of lap 40. Norris was told on the radio, if Leclerc pits, they will respond. But I just wonder here, is Piastri now following team orders? Has he been ruled out of this championship fight? And is his job now to slow down Max Verstappen as much as he can, like we saw with Tsunoda trying it on Norris earlier? The gap is 1.2 seconds. Max Verstappen is coming at a rate of knots onto the gearbox of Oscar Piastri, making his way down the second straight towards the left-hander of turn 9. Will Piastri come into the pits at the end of this lap? His tyres are screaming. Or will he have to play the game? Lando Norris is told to pit. Box from the pit wall for Lando Norris. And so, under the bridge at the hotel section we go, through the left-hander of turn 14. Then you get the car over to the left-hand side before you turn it back into the right of 15. One more right beckons at turn 16. Piastri stays out. There'll be action in the pit lane shortly from his teammate Lando Norris. Is this Piastri's championship well and truly over now, with Verstappen within half a second of the Australian? And is he going to hold down his teammate? Lando Norris comes into the pits, Rosanna.
And it's the first garage that he comes to. He's into the McLaren pit box. It's a 2.4 second stop time for Lando Norris. I have to say, Harry, when the icon popped up on my screen saying box, I assumed it was going to be Oscar Piastri that McLaren were clawing in. But no, he is still out there trying to hold up Max Verstappen, who is now incredibly close. 2 tenths, Harry.
Here comes Max Verstappen. Piastri doesn't hold him up too much, doesn't put up a fight against his teammate's rival, and a rival that he has been destined to fight with this year. Verstappen retakes the lead at the end of the back straight with the aid of DRS. Piastri will get a dose of DRS towards turn 9, but the Australian cannot close in. His tyres have given up life. He falls down to second. Lando Norris reappears from the pit lane on the hard tyre in third place, responding to Charles Leclerc's pit stop. Leclerc behind Russell in fifth. Verstappen leads this Grand Prix. If it ends like this, though, Lando Norris is champion.
Yeah, I don't think that really Oscar could do much. He knows that he's coming in the pits now as we watch, so he's got to change tyres in any case. He's left it quite late, but we'll see what sort of pace he's got and where he's going to end up when he's finally putting on a medium set, which he has to do because he's got hard on.
Rosanna, what can you see?
Well, it's a busy couple of laps, isn't it, for the McLaren mechanics? It's a 2.2 second stop time for Oscar Piastri, and as Damon correctly said, it is the medium tyre that goes onto his McLaren car, getting rid of those hard tyres. What a stint, 42 laps run. Pirelli told me before the race that they could do 40 laps easily, but it did feel like they were going off there. Or was that strategic from McLaren and Oscar Piastri to hold Max Verstappen up? But again, that move was very easy from where I was standing.
Yeah, I will agree with you, Rosanna. Piastri said before this race he needed things to happen for him to become world champion.
Well, there's still time, Harry. You know, we're not there yet, and we have, safety car, suddenly they're all bunched up again.
Well, there was
and Oscar's on fresh tyres.
I think there was a champion speed skater called Stephen Bradbury for Australia who went into the Olympics and was the underdog, was never really rated to get gold at the Olympics, and on the final lap, well, everybody in front of him stacked it, and he came through on the last lap to take gold for Australia.
See?
How quickly things can change in sports.
Yeah, we're skating on thin ice the whole time.
Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, has just done George Russell down the back straight and put himself up to fourth.
I don't want to be giving up too much time. We want to see whether we can chase down Verstappen here.
So Oscar Piastri has been told doesn't want to give up too much time, has fed out in second place, still ahead of Norris, but only 4.5 seconds. Wants to chase down teammate, wants to chase down the race leader, Max Verstappen.
24.5 seconds in 15 laps.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But, I mean, as if you have to tell a driver to chase the guy in front. I mean, it always amazes me when you hear radio messages like that. I know that they're giving him tyre strategy and information as well, so sometimes the driver does need to know whether he can abuse the tyres or not, but I'm pretty certain that what Oscar will be doing will be going absolutely Harry Flatters from now to the end.
Max Verstappen leads the Grand Prix on lap 43 of 58, but it's not enough for him to be crowned champion as it stands. He's 24 seconds clear of Oscar Piastri, who's now back out there on the medium tyre, having done a long old stint on the hard tyre. Norris, who pitted twice in response to Charles Leclerc, is third, but closing behind teammate Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc is in fourth. George Russell is fifth. Lance Stroll pits from sixth place in this race. First stop for the Canadian, the Aston Martin. That promotes his teammate Fernando Alonso. Then comes Ocon, Behrman and Bortoleto. Lewis Hamilton, meanwhile, is having a nice little scrap just outside the points, currently with the likes of Carlos Sainz, who has managed to just get ahead of into 11th spot, but no points on offer at the moment. In fact, make that 10th spot, make that 9th spot for Lewis Hamilton as he cruises past Gabriel Bortoleto. So starting to come back to Hamilton in the closing stages, having started in 16th place in his Ferrari, a third consecutive Q1 knockout, his first since 2009. But still, I think very much looking towards the end of this season and 2026. This looks like it will be a winless year for Ferrari, their first since 2021.
He's going to need to be 1.5 seconds quicker than you every lap. I'll keep you posted.
So that's what Max Verstappen has been told. 1.5 seconds quicker than Max Verstappen every lap to the end of this race. For Piastri, for Lando Norris.
And to put that into context, it was 6/10 on that lap. So that's kind of why I was a little bit incredulous as to that radio message. But anyway, the important thing is, of course, is that at the moment, the way the championship is, Lando Norris is in a comfortable third place. Don't want to give him commentator's curse. And if it stays like this, he will be world champion at the end of the race.
They could have put the soft tyre on, I suppose, but I suppose they probably don't have any new ones left.
Yeah, that would be the case. It wouldn't last.
The soft only lasted 9 laps at the start of the race, didn't it, on Hamilton's car? So.
Yeah, well, it's heavier fuel load, dirty track. Sometimes you get a few more laps out of them.
Well, they've made their call, and we go to the end. So with Stroll being the last of the cars who hadn't pitted to pit, everybody has at least come in once now. Stroll drops down to 17th and outside of the points. And Max Verstappen leads. Piastri, Norris the top three. Leclerc is fourth ahead of Russell. That's the top five. Then it's Alonso, Ocon, Behrman, Hamilton and Bortoleto.
What's the picture in front? How do I win this race?
So Verstappen is on your pit stop window. He's doing 27.9.
So Piastri's asking on the radio there, how can I win this race? And being told the gap and the times needed, but it's going to be a tough ask. Although last lap around, Piastri went fastest of anybody. Took the fastest lap, a 1:26.7. Compare that to Max Verstappen, a 1:27.8. So Piastri is pushing here.
He's half a second off of the pace he needs to be at.
Lap 45 of 58. Full time in the WSL. Let's head to Lee Sports Village. Nathan Alban.
And it was from Yas Marina to Yas Shakira. West Ham's Shakira Martinez scoring the goal of the game, an overhead kick. But goals either side from Turland and Janssen put United back third. Full time Manchester United 2, West Ham 1.
Well, from Nathan Alban to Alex Alban, down in 15th at the moment, so unfortunately not going so well for him in this race. Williams looking to go pointless at the moment, with Sainz down in 11th, just on the cusp of the points. So let's just see how this is affecting that run in the midfield right now, with Alonso 6th, Ocon 7th, Behrman 8th, Hamilton 9th and Bortoleto in 10th. 6th place would go to Racing Bulls, 7th would be Aston Martin, 8th would be Haas, and Sauber would be in 9th. So that's how it would end in the Constructors' Championship, for that battle, and that really tight battle in the midfield. But Ocon's pretty close to the back of Fernando Alonso, within a second of his old teammate, and Behrman also is making gains. Actually, no, he's not making gains, he's making losses, because Lewis Hamilton has just got through on his compatriot and demoted Behrman down to 9th. But both Haas drivers still looking to score points in this one. Fastest lap of the race is Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. He's been trying to throw a spanner into the works. We thought it might be George Russell trying to upset the apple carts and the title race in these closing stages. But Charles Leclerc is doing all he can, but right now looking confined to 4th place. It's a gap of 22.2 seconds between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. Piastri on the medium tyre, trying to win this race and close at a rapid rate of knots. And right now, well, if Verstappen did pit again, he would come out just in front of his teammate Oscar Piastri, but we don't expect Max Verstappen to come into the pits again. He can go to the end. So if Piastri somehow wants to win this race, he's got to overcome 21.7 seconds worth of a gap. But right now it is coming down, and he's on the quicker tyre on the mediums. Lando Norris is in 3rd, 4.8 seconds back from Oscar Piastri, and that is all he needs right now. 3rd place is enough to crown Lando Norris world champion in 2025.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing the kind of, super fast laps from Oscar that we'd like to see. We'd like to see a close finish in the end, but it's 21 seconds and now got 10 laps to go, or 11 laps to go, so doesn't look likely. I mean, I'm not getting ahead of myself. I've seen this before. We have only, as I said, 11 laps to go. Things happen.
How are you feeling, Damon, as a driver in the car in the closing stages of a race where you are on the cusp of your first world championship? Are you thinking about it?
Well, in my case, I was world champion halfway through the race because Jack Villeneuve's wheel fell off. And
did you suddenly then relax?
No, well, I got on the radio. I said, "Can I come in now?" and they said, "We prefer if you carried on." Anyway,
better for the show.
And so I think my wife had already had a few glasses of champagne.
Is Charles catching it or not?
Fairly equal pace, Max, between them. Last lap was a couple of tenths quicker, but nothing drastic.
Yeah, that's Max Verstappen asking, is Charles Leclerc catching him? That is Lando Norris he's referring to, and that's really what Max Verstappen needs is Charles Leclerc, who does have the fastest lap of this race so far, to put pressure on Lando Norris. And if he would overtake Lando Norris for 3rd place and put Norris into 4th, well, suddenly the tables turn and Max Verstappen would be champion.
It is a little baffling that with all their criticism and trouble, that Charles is banging in the same lap times as Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, the dominant car this season, and Oscar can't go faster than that. I mean, I'm assuming Oscar is going as fast as he absolutely can.
Well, I wonder, let's have a look at, Oscar might have caught a little bit of traffic as well last lap around. He's, no, he actually hasn't. So Piastri is 2nd, is steadily closing, but Charles Leclerc is also closing on Lando Norris. I mean, there was so much talk coming into this race, wasn't there, Damon, that Max Verstappen might try something clever here, might try and slow the pack and back them all up. I remember 2016 in the closing stages where Lewis Hamilton was seeing the World Championship slip away from him, going to his teammate Nico Rosberg, and then he started to ease off the pace and back Rosberg right into the clutches of, I think it was Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel at the time. Is that something Verstappen might employ in the closing stages? Can he afford to? Will it even work?
No, I think they've decided it's a long shot, and I think they can't do anything too obviously. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I doubt it.
Well, with Max Verstappen at the moment just making his way through the hotel section, Piastri is making his way down towards turn 9, followed pretty closely, or down towards turn 1 I should say, followed pretty closely by his teammate Lando Norris, and then Charles Leclerc as well, very much in the picture here. Just a handful of seconds covering 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 4.6 seconds from Piastri to Norris, then a further 4.1 seconds to Charles Leclerc.
And they're asking us to give our vote for the overtake of the race on the graphic that came up on the screen, but it has to be Lando going off the track flat out past Yuki Tsunoda. A really hairy moment in the race, and thankfully they got away with it.
You're not going to give it to Piastri around the outside at turn 9?
Well, I don't know what that was about. I think maybe that was just a clean pass, but it was a good move, that.
It was a good move. Piastri fighting right till the end. Refound his mojo in Qatar, a track he knows well and loves well. Piastri only in his 3rd season of Formula 1. Lando Norris, 7. And Max Verstappen, well, 4-time world champion, been in the sport since 2015 as the Dutchman. Currently on his way to race victory, but on lap 50 of 58 would not seal the championship. That would still go the way of Lando Norris, who sits in third. Behind that battle at the front, Russell is fifth, pretty comfortable. So too is Alonso, but Alonso's got Ocon right on his back. Less than a second between those two, and he's bringing Hamilton along for the ride. So could be a battle for 6th, 7th and 8th brewing in the closing stages. Behrman is 9th, then comes Bortoleto, who rounds out the point scorers. Sainz 11th, Tsunoda 12th. Antonelli 13th ahead of Lance Stroll. Hadjar is 15th. Hulkenberg's just got up into 16th ahead of Alex Albon. Liam Lawson is in 18th, and the two Alpines in what is Renault Power's last race in Formula One. Alpine switching to Mercedes power units next year, so their work status ends. Gasly, Colapinto 19th and 20th, and writing off a season to forget for Team Enstone. Through the chicane for Lando Norris, Damon.
Harry, look, I remember sitting here 2021 thinking, oh, that's all over, and Lewis Hamilton is going to win his 8th title. And we're all relaxing, and then suddenly, safety car.
But that's Formula One, isn't it? It can turn on its head in an instant.
I'm not wanting a safety car, I'm just saying it can happen.
That is, exactly. We've got 20 drivers still in this race, all keeping it fairly clean. We've had a few speeding in pit lane incidents. We've had a little bit of dicing and erratic driving that's been dealt with in the early stages. But actually, it's been a cleaner race than we're used to seeing.
Clean race, and I think Lewis Hamilton has had a good recovery drive from his misery of this year, and also qualifying yesterday. So he's definitely done there must be something to bring back a little bit of a smile, perhaps, in performing, at least doing lots of overtakes and getting the car further up the order that he started. But yes, a year to forget for Lewis Hamilton, and generally overall this season has had some fantastic races. What's your favourite one, Harry?
Oh, my favourite race. It put me on the spot there.
Yeah. Well, you can think about it. We've got a few more laps.
Yeah, I don't know. My first thought was actually Australia, round 1. That was pretty dicey.
So Lando doing a fantastic job here, mate. Everything's looking good. There's 5 racing laps, including this one, we think. What are your thoughts on soft or staying out on this hard?
I think a soft would be better. It's just, the safety car gets delayed or something. That becomes the issue.
So Lando Norris there. So everything going well with 5 racing laps remaining, but what if there is a last-minute safety car? Do they dive into the pits? Is the soft tyre the option there?
Well, that was exactly what we've just been talking about. What would happen is Charles would come in, get some soft, and then he'd be on soft tyres, and then he can actually, this is exactly the scenario. You think, that will never happen, but that's what you don't want to do. We've learned the lesson. We're watching some back markers going into turn 5, 6 and looking a bit late on the brakes. Who was that?
That was Hulkenberg getting through on Albon a few moments ago. That was over 16th and 17th.
Okay, it was a replay. They got the job done. There's no issues at the moment. Right. So what was I saying? Some of the races we've had this year have been. I think there's been some absolute.
I think we've had a cracking season.
We have. 7 wins. It'll now be 8 to Max. So the curiosity will be that Max will have won more races than anyone, but not become world champion. We've been in situations like that before in the past where people complained that, I remember they like to think the one who won the most races would have won the title, but
either way, even if he doesn't win the title, Max Verstappen, it's one of the greatest comebacks I think we've seen in Formula One. He was 104 points back in the summer.
Yeah, they're fighters, and they fought like absolute tigers to get in the position to at least give themselves a chance. It's phenomenal, really, when you think what they've been through. Changes at the top in Red Bull. They've had lost Christian Horner. Adrian had left before, but they're still pressing on and producing race-winning Grand Prix cars. And Max Verstappen is still, I think, the class of the field. I think everyone in Formula One would even agree with that. Even Lando and Oscar would say that Max is the most formidable competitor in the pack.
We are getting a little move further down at the back. Late braking from Lewis Hamilton at the end of the back straight to the inside of turn 6. That becomes 7 through the right-hander, and he gets Esteban Ocon, demotes the Haas driver down to 8th. But Ocon comes back at him with the aid of DRS down towards the left-hander of turn 9, fighting over 7th and 8th in these closing stages. Ocon doing all he can to score maximum points for his Haas team. He'll be back with them next year. At the moment, it's still not enough to leapfrog Haas ahead of Aston Martin. They're both behind Fernando Alonso's Aston, which is currently sitting pretty in 6th. But Hamilton looking quicker than Ocon, but the Frenchman not willing to roll over easily in these final stages. Lap 53 of 58 here in Abu Dhabi. Air temperature just over 26 degrees. Track temperature 29.3 degrees as the sun has set a long time ago now. The sky pitch black, the track illuminated by floodlights, which are all looking at the papaya McLaren of Lando Norris, who's just making his way underneath the bridge at the hotel. Few laps to go.
You're saying making his way. He's actually faster than Oscar Piastri at the moment. He's doing 126 last lap to 127 for Oscar.
He's so comfortable out there at the moment, isn't he? I mean, we heard him on the radio a few moments ago. He's just sounded so cool, so calm, and that's often we say that more about his teammate. But it was Norris in the cockpit who sounds pretty collected. We actually got a few shots of his mother and the McLaren mechanics and engineers at the back of the garage a few moments ago. Felt like there was a bit of tension there, excitement. Nothing they can do, nothing anyone can do but watch.
Lando was half a second quicker than Oscar there, a lot quicker than Max Verstappen, but it doesn't really matter in a way because they're just managing the gap now. But I think that one of the ways to keep your concentration, one of the ways to keep your focus is to press on. You know, he can do it. It's not got an issue with his tyres, I don't think, by pushing on. So he's got a bit of a gap to himself to Charles. Got a good 7-second gaps there from Norris to Charles Leclerc in 4th place, the dreaded 4th place. So as it stands, Lando only has 4 more laps to become world champion.
10 British drivers have done it before him. You are one of them, Damon. Lando Norris looking to become the 11th world champion. It's something you chase, isn't it? Since karting, and you reach the pinnacle, and then you've got to hope you get the machinery, and that's something that Lando Norris didn't always have. He's grown with this team. The team has grown with him over the course of his career, and we're seeing Lando Norris deliver the goods. He's still got a few laps to go, 4 laps to go. He's only a couple of seconds behind his teammate Oscar Piastri, and closing.
And they were all asked, weren't they, in the build-up, what would it mean to become world champion? And Lando said something to the effect of, I don't know, in 30 years' time it won't mean anything, nobody cares. And then he went on to say, this has been my whole life. It's everything I've worked for my whole life. So it would mean the world to me, and it would mean the world to everyone that supported me and pushed me for all the last 16 years of his life. And he's only 26.
They're so young, aren't they? Formula One drivers these days, but 26 years old and with 7 years of experience for Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri ahead of him, his teammate. A old head on young shoulders for Piastri, who for so long this season looked like he had it wrapped up.
He's struggling with grading.
For Oscar, it's more the rears.
So Lando Norris asking if his teammate is struggling with graining on his tyres, being told Piastri struggling with his rear tyres. Norris continues to close in on his teammate. I wonder if Piastri will move over and give him second place. I'm not sure what it gains, but right now with Verstappen,
it's pride,
looking on course to win. It doesn't matter.
You know, he doesn't want anyone, Lando doesn't want anyone saying that he was gifted it, you know, and he wants to say he beat Oscar, and that's what he's doing right now. He's pressing on. He's sensing a little bit of blood maybe for Oscar, and I don't think Oscar's going to put up a fight if he gets close or not. And, you know, Lando can get a DRS down the back straight, he'll get past him cleanly. We'll have to come back next year and have a go at beating Lando Norris.
We do it all again in 2026, but we still have to close the curtain on 2025, which is only 3 laps away. Verstappen on course for his 8th win this season. Oscar Piastri in 2nd. Lando Norris in 3rd. With that would seal the World Championship. Charles Leclerc 4th. George Russell 5th, ahead of Fernando Alonso. Then comes Esteban Ocon, who's still got Lewis Hamilton keeping him company. Could Hamilton pick off 7th place at the close of this race? Behrman is 9th. Stroll rounds out the top 10, having just demoted Gabriel Borsaletto out of the points. Sainz 12th, Hülkenberg 13th. Tsunoda at his final race in his Formula 1 career will not pick up any points. He's down in 14th. Kimi Antonelli's had a race to forget as well. He's down in 15th, ahead of Albon. Hadjar from inside the points has fallen by the wayside, down into 17th, only ahead of his Racing Bulls teammate Liam Lawson and the 2 Alpines of Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. All 20 drivers still in this one, and they've kept it clean. A mixture of 1 and 2 stop strategies. Max Verstappen starts lap 57 of 58 with no trouble whatsoever, but there might be a bit of traffic that comes their way. Indeed, the 2 McLarens are about to come up to the back of Franco Colapinto's Alpine, and Max Verstappen about to get right into the thick of it behind Hadjar and Albon, Antonelli, Tsunoda and Hülkenberg. So that might be a fight he'd rather not have. Could afford to just lift off so he doesn't have to find a way through those drivers. They will be given blue flags and do have to get out of the way. But it's easier said than done sometimes when they're scrapping as well in these closing stages.
Yep, there's still scraps going on. Just looking at Hamilton, he's dropped back a bit from Ocon may have actually put a stop to all of that, so a bit of a shame there. But Ocon can be a hard man to pass as well, so you know, that's the sort of situation that might have created a safety car, perhaps. But so far, they've all been very good boys, not been any issues, and we're now getting down to what have we got to say here, Harry? What have we got left to say?
Well, I mean, for Lando Norris, he is just moments away as Max Verstappen starts the final lap of this race. He has done all he can, and what a fight back it has been for Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri out of this one. Looks like he'll come home in second. Lando Norris, all he needed was a top 3 finish to take the title, and he is on his way there in 3rd place. A moment he has chased, fought for and dreamt about since the day he first climbed into a car. It's not come easily. The season has asked everything of him. The speed he's always had, but he's developed steel, maturity, resilience. We've seen him take highs with humility, lows with honesty, and he's somehow come back stronger every time. He's always kept himself in the fight, grown and developed with the team as they have grown with him, from agonising near misses in the early stages of his career to rebounding, bouncing back to brilliant wins, heartbreak in strategy calls. He's shown wheel-to-wheel brilliance. Norris has been building this title lap by lap and day by day. McLaren gave him the tools, and even when all seemed lost, it's Lando who's delivered the performances when it's most mattered. Round the final corner, Max Verstappen will take victory in Abu Dhabi, but the championship will go the way of the man you can hear now, Lando Norris, a corner away from becoming 2025 Formula One World Champion. He crosses the line and into history. Lando Norris is champion in 2025, the 11th British driver to do it. From the highs, the heartbreaks, the sheer graft of this season, he has climbed the mountain. Lando Norris, your 2025 Formula One World Champion.
Fantastic job, Lando, well done. We're going to hear him on the radio, no doubt, in a second. At the moment, we're watching scenes from the garage and his mum there. Everyone's excited in tears. Oh, yes, and he will be having a little moment to himself in that cockpit. Let's hope we hear from him on the radio in a second.
His mother in tears in the garage. Zach Brown on the pit wall, smiles up and down. Oscar Piastri finished in second. The championship has gone the way of his teammate. And for McLaren, fending off Red Bull and Max Verstappen and their surge halfway through this season, Lando Norris has achieved what every driver sets out to do when they pick up a go-kart. They want to be Formula One world champion. It's an exclusive club, Damon. It's one you're a part of. And Lando Norris has done it. He has joined it with a team that he came into Formula One with and has developed with all the way to the very top.
Yeah, indeed. They've won the Constructors. Here he goes.
That's it, mate. You are world champion. World champion. Well done, mate. I'm so proud. Lando, this is Zach from McLaren. Is this the world champion hotline?
Yeah.
You did it!
Thank
you did it! Awesome!
Thank you, guys. Oh my god. You made a kid's dream true. Thanks so much. I love you guys. Thanks for everything. You deserve it. I love you, Mum. I love you, Dad. Thanks for everything. I'm not crying.
Emerson Fittipaldi, James Hunt, Niki Lauda, Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna, Mika Hakkinen, Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, all champions with McLaren.
Max, you have given everything. You can be proud of that, mate. Hold your head up high.
We showed them one final time in this class. Congrats, guys, for the comeback and that second half of the season. We can be really, really proud of that. So don't be too disappointed. I'm definitely not disappointed. I'm really proud of everyone to never give up.
Max Verstappen takes victory in it to the very end. Victory on track. But there's a new Formula One world champion in town, Steve Crossman, and it's Lando Norris.
And the team here are just going absolutely crazy. Let's have a quick word with Zach Brown, McLaren CEO. Zach, congratulations. You've done it. He's whooping and hollering. He's just leaping into the arms of some of the team. So I'm going to give him a second to do this. He has absolutely just flown. It was almost like crowd surfing. Zach, you've done it. Congratulations. How does it feel?
What an effort. Lando and Oscar, what a fantastic season. This guy knows what it's like to win world championships.
Mika Hakkinen, how about that?
No. Look at this, what a work.
That was amazing.
Zach, tell us about this young man and his mentality to achieve that today.
I mean, our drivers were just awesome all year. That was an easy year to get Max beat, but what a great job. Both guys are awesome.
And I tell you what, amidst all the noise of the engines, amidst the fireworks, the thing that shot through for me down in this pit lane was the biggest yee-haw from Zach Brown. All of the pent-up, it's all come out now.
That was 2 years in a row of a pretty difficult 2 hours at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but awesome. Great, so happy for the team and the drivers.
And lastly, do you think you've also shown it's possible for two drivers, two teammates to compete and still stay on the same page?
We certainly have, and that's exactly what we're going to do again next year.
Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Zach Brown, McLaren CEO, live on 5 Live. His team, his driver is world champion. Harry.
He has done his obligatory champion donuts on the start-finish straight. He's pulled up on the grid. He's gotten out of his car. Lando Norris stood on the top of that papaya McLaren that has delivered him the ultimate prize in Formula One. He heads straight over to Max Verstappen, to Oscar Piastri. He gives them both a handshake, but it's straight to the embrace of his mother, Siska, whose voice you can hear crying, laughing. His father, Adam, as well, looking adoringly at his son. Those parents who've put so much into Lando Norris's career. Since he was 4 years old, Lando Norris has been racing from local British kart tracks to across the globe at the pinnacle of motorsport. He's now running along the pit wall and giving everybody from his team who leans over a high five. His helmet's still on, but you know he has got the widest smile. Lando Norris, a world champion, and a world champion well deserved.
He's still got his helmet on, Harry. He's not taking off his foot. His hands are in his visors. He's probably wiping tears from his eyes. It was an emotional radio message, wasn't it? And the tension is over. He can relax. He can enjoy it. It's a wonderful feeling. I mean, he can honestly say, allow himself that moment. Is he going to take his helmet off? His dad is there. He still hasn't done it yet. He's enjoying being inside that hat, I think.
He's still got to do all the protocols. He's got to go to the FIA garage. He's got to get weighed. Zach Brown's just come over. He's just had a hug as well from his older brother as well, who's here.
Yes, Zach's going to give him, no doubt, will give him a fist bump. He's giving a smack on the bum, but there you go.
And that's nice as well. Oscar Piastri's there. He finished second. He gave it his all, but ultimately Piastri lost this championship a few races ago. And Piastri gives Lando and his mother and father a hug, and that is a man gracious in defeat. McLaren have done the unthinkable here, and they have created an environment where two drivers can fight for the World Championship and not fall out and not create a toxic environment. They want to keep hold of Norris and Piastri for years to come. They believe they can fight for world titles with Norris and Piastri, who have bought in to this ethos of fairness first. And right now, well, it's delivered Lando Norris a world championship, but Oscar Piastri was in the fight right to the very end.
He's hugged George Russell there, you know, and Carlos Sainz comes up and gives him a big old shove in the chest, but he's still got his helmet on. He's going to take it off.
He won't take that helmet
off.
But
I mean, it is wonderful to watch, you know, that this team spirit that you talked about. They've won the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. I think we can say now that Papaya rules. The 2025 Championship. Zach Brown now striding around, chest out. You know, he cancelled a game of golf with me on Thursday. He said, "I've got to concentrate. I've got to work."
Well, I think it paid off.
I forgave him.
Papaya rules.
Here it comes.
Lando Norris.
It comes off.
And McLaren, champions in Formula One. They've done the double. Constructors champions and Lando Norris drivers champion. He takes off his helmet, his balaclava. He takes off his knee protectors. He's sweating. He's worked hard for that one. And the adrenaline will keep him in form. We'll hear from our top three and the world champ, and they will be speaking down on the grid to David Coulthard, and we can head down to him now.
Lando Norris, you are a world champion. The world champion.
Oh God, I've not cried in a while. I didn't think I would cry, but I did. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. First of all, I want to say a big thanks to my guys, everyone in McLaren, my parents. I'm not crying. Yeah, my mum, my dad. You know, they're the ones who supported me since the beginning. So. I look like a loser.
You look like a winner to me. You're the only 35th man to win a Formula One World Championship. This is the biggest prize in motorsport.
I mean, it feels amazing, you know. Yeah, I now know what Max feels like a little bit, and I want to congratulate Max and Oscar, my two biggest competitors the whole season. It's been a pleasure to race against both of them. It's been an honor. I've learned a lot from both of them as well. So I've enjoyed it. It's been a long year, but we did it. We did it, and I'm so proud of everyone.
Look, it's been an incredible season. It was so tight between you all. You were feisty in that race as well. We were curious to know, would you sit back and not take any risks? But you pulled off some good passes, did what you had to do. How much of that World Championship was in your mind when you're running in third, and how much was it just in the moment?
It's a bit of both. I mean, you can't not think of it. But I just knew it's a long race to the very end. You know, anything we've seen many times, anything in Formula One can happen, and I just kept pushing until the last 2 or 3 laps. I could ease it off a bit, but I was still wanted to fight to the end, and that's what we did. It's what we had to do this season. You know, for Max chasing us the whole way, for Oscar catching up again at the end. They certainly didn't make my life easy this year, but. Yeah, I'm happy, so.
Oh, understandably so. And, you know, this is a beautiful moment of winning your first World Championship. I don't know if you were aware of a moment you were under investigation with the overtake in Tsunoda where you went beyond the white lines. And, of course, nothing came of that. But were you aware of it? Did your team tell? Because we were all on the edge of our seats.
I had no idea. I had no idea. I didn't care. I mean, I knew what I did was fine, so I had nothing to worry about. I was just trying to enjoy the moment. You know, there's not many people in the world, not many people in Formula One ever get to experience what I've experienced this season and this year. So I'm happy for everyone. I'm happy for everyone more than me. But I'm just crazy happy.
It's wonderful to see. We're looking across. We see Zach Brown. We see your parents, your brother, your family, everyone here has been on this journey with you. So just once again, are you able to compartmentalize? You are the world champion.
I mean, look, it's been a long journey with McLaren. I've been with them for like 9 years. We've been through plenty of crazy difficult times and plenty of good times, you know. So for me to feel like I can bring something back to them, you know, it's their first drivers in many, many years. So I feel like I did my part for the team this year, and I'm very proud of myself for that. But I'm even more proud for everyone that I've hopefully made cry.
Well, you've made a lot of people cry. Congratulations once again. We'll let you go and join your team. Take the rest of the year off.
Oh, amazing scenes here. The fireworks have just lifted off the way to our right-hand side, so we're just now sandwiched amongst a big mass of people right underneath the podium. And I tell you what, the McLaren team, all of them, are just standing on the pit wall right in front of us. We've actually just seen Max Verstappen for the first time, and he came sprinting over to his team, huge smile on his face, showing exactly what he said he would show, really, showing that he is happy come what may today. Obviously desperately wanted the world title. Wasn't to be for him, wasn't to be for Oscar Piastri either. Harry, down here though, I mean, everybody just seems to be in kind of a weird state of joy. I mean, I've just seen Tom Stollard, Oscar Piastri's race engineer, obviously not entirely feeling like that. I mean, a shrug of the shoulders and a shake of the head. But they all did pretty much everything they could today, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Ultimately, it wasn't the race of the season. I think we can say that as Lando gets in the selfie with Zach Brown and Andrea Stella. But I think McLaren kept their cool. They kept level-headed. They allowed Oscar Piastri to still have a fight in this race, but it went naturally the way of Lando Norris. They managed to deal with the imposing threats of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, what he might throw into the ring. But ultimately, Lando Norris has done the job throughout this year, built up the points when he needed to, and delivered it over the line at the final time of cooling.
One more big cheer away to our left-hand side. Lando Norris has just walked right past us, his hair absolutely drenched with the effort of the afternoon. Every single place he goes, there is a huge whoop. There is a train of cameras and microphones following him as he goes. The podium is right above us. All of the lights just suddenly went out at the Yas Marina circuit, and it's now bathed in sort of a red hue up above us. We can see the trophies. Rosanna Tennant, it won't be too long until we see Lando Norris on top of that podium.
No, not long at all, and this place is going to go off, Crossy, I think. I'm really keen to hear what they say in the cool-down room, of course, because we hear what the top three have to say to each other after that. So it'll be interesting to see the interaction between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. But what a moment. It's absolutely heaving down here. I've never seen the pit lane so full.
Yeah, once Lando arrives in the cool-down room, we might just sort of dip into that to see what's being said. I mean, I would imagine, given everything that we've seen over the course of the last 48 hours, really, it'll be very, very cordial. And you know, Oscar being the guy he is, I'm sure he'll be congratulating Lando Norris. It says right in front of us, Lando Norris, World Champion 2025, on the big screens in bright papaya. Let's head into that cool-down room, shall we, and see what the new World Champ is saying.
Where's the weight? Okay.
Max Verstappen with the congratulations that you just heard there. He is having the biggest long drink, Lando Norris, that you can imagine. We've just got the pictures from inside the room, and there is a guy who's just sitting with his two biggest rivals, and he's just wondered what must be going through his head right now.
Oh, you see this one?
Norris stands up, and he absolutely flops back down. Stefano Domenicali, the boss of F1, is just kind of walking through the cool-down room now, and a big hug for all three of the drivers commiserating with Oscar Piastri. Huge congratulations to Lando Norris, who just sort of puts his hands through his hair and I think just tries to understand the moment.
Not yet. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. I'm going to see Mum and Dad now, just to make sure we're
Yeah, I think it is going to be quite a long night, this one, for Lando Norris. Just to our left-hand side now, the gates are opening and we're going to head onto the grid and we'll be right underneath the podium when Lando Norris lifts that trophy. But Rosanna, I mean, his face was an absolute picture there. He's just been surrounded by the entire world's media. He's about to be out here again. Now, probably for the last time in a long time, only the one camera on him.
Yeah, just one camera. A moment of quietness, but I love that. Max Verstappen asking him how he was after all of that. And he looks absolutely exhausted. Stefano Domenicali, the big boss of F1, having to pull him up off the sofa. I think that has taken everything from Lando Norris. Not just this race, this season, and of course the 16 years he's been trying and working his way towards Formula One, and finally that dream has come true for Lando Norris tonight.
We're now on the track right in front of the start-finish line. We're on the grid. I think if we were starting right now, we'd be in about P8, P9.
Probably our standard, I think.
I think it's a bit high for us, but to be honest. And now the podium is right above us, so any minute now we'll see Lando Norris and the others walk out above us. A big camera. I just saw a little opening of the door there to the cool-down room right above us, where the three drivers will soon emerge, and how fitting that it is those three drivers on this day of all days as they get ready to really ramp it up out here. The lights are on, the music's booming out, and Lando's moment, Rosanna, is what, 60, 70 seconds away probably?
Yeah, not long now. Of course, we'll have the third place driver, which is, of course, Lando Norris, and here he comes. The crowd has gone wild. Everybody behind us in the grandstand on their feet. Camera phones in the air, trying to capture the moment. I just try and savour these moments, Crossy. We can watch it back, can't we?
Here comes Lando Norris then, a big wave to the crowd as he walks out onto the podium. That's the noise he gets. John Surtees, Nigel Mansell, James Hunt, Damon Hill, Mike Hawthorne, Jenson Button, Graham Hill, Jim Clark, Jackie Stewart and Lewis Hamilton. You have company. That's the cheer for Oscar Piastri, whose name weaves around the advertising boards in front of us. And he just strolls out with the kind of look on his face that you would expect. There's resolution in those eyes. He certainly gave absolutely everything that he had to do it this afternoon, but it wasn't to be. He just sort of licks his lips and takes his stance in third position. Well, the number one first place has come up, and it's going to greet Max Verstappen. Max, 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 it says in big blue and white letters, and he absolutely runs onto the podium here. Jogging behind him, members of his team. Well, it's been his day, Max Verstappen, but it's not his season. It belongs to Lando Norris. There'll be much more reaction to come. We've already seen Lando in tears, and we're about to see more, I think. So you had the national anthem of Austria in Constructor today, of course, Red Bull, national anthem of the Netherlands as well for Max Verstappen, who won the race. And Verstappen now holds the trophy above his head, so there would have been a double bubble for Lando Norris if he could have stood on top of the podium with his national anthem as well, of course, but he won't care about anything else other than the fact that he's won the world title. I'm just going to turn around and look back at the grandstand from down here on the track. I can see a Union Jack. It's a sea of red, white and blue mixed with papaya orange. There's somebody actually in front of me who's got a Lando Norris head cut out and is waving it up at him. And they've got some shorts with actual papayas on them as well. Back up on the podium, they're all getting their trophies now for the race. Oscar Piastri, his hand in his. It's sort of a half smile on his face and a bit of a limp trophy raise in the circumstances. You can obviously understand exactly why. And this is going to be Lando Norris's favourite third of his entire life. Applause from all around us here. Flashbulbs going off. Every kind of camera you can imagine trained on Lando Norris, who holds the smallest trophy with the biggest meaning until he gets his hands on the prize proper. That is the representation of a whole career of hard work as the fireworks go off and the champagne popped and we're getting drenched underneath the podium here. Max Verstappen, huge smile on his face. Lando Norris is underneath a sea of champagne. He's trying his best to get his bottle going, but Max Verstappen's not letting him open his eyes. There is a big glug, the taste of success for Lando Norris, who wipes his eyes and tries to blink away the booze. Big handshakes going on up there. And the smoke just billows up into the black night sky here in Abu Dhabi. Let's get some more reaction from up there in the commentary box. Rebecca Clancy, F1 journalist, is there. Commentator Harry Benjamin is there. Wow, Beck. I mean, it looked for a long time like he was going to get over the line, but you could hear in the emotion that he felt every second of this race today.
It didn't feel that straightforward, did it? It was more tense than I think perhaps any of us were hoping it would be. Most of all, Lando Norris, but he has got the job done, and I think the scenes they were watching now up from the commentary box were actually just a bit higher than you, Crossy. We can see, looking down on you on the track, got a great vantage point of the podium. You can see the relief leaving his body, can't you? It's been so tense. There has been so much pressure, and he's been acting all cool and calm as he blows kisses down to his family and friends and all the fans who are waving up at him. He is a very relieved man and a very, very happy man.
He's up on the trophy, overlooking his fans, his friends, his family, his team. And I think it's probably only just starting to sink in for Lando Norris as he raises his fist into the air, and he is loving every single minute of this. A smile as wide as he can make it, dripping in champagne, and he's about to be greeted by another British world champion, the 2009 British Formula One world champion, Jenson Button, down on the podium. We're going to hear from them now.
You're not going anywhere yet. Congratulations, mate. Lando, F1 world champion. It's insane. Congratulations, Lando. What a season you've had. So well deserved. And how does it feel? You've had a couple of moments now to let it sink in. How does it feel to celebrate with the world?
It's incredible. It's pretty surreal, you know. I dreamed of this for a long, long time. I mean, everyone does. Yeah, it's just a lot goes into a season. I mean, you know it. A lot goes into a season like this. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. But none of that matters as long as you try and come out on top. And that's what you managed to do. I did it with an incredible team. Willie J, Jarvis, Will, all the boys and girls that I've enjoyed so many moments with. You know, it's not just this year. It's been over the last 7-8 years of being with McLaren. With the last 16, 17 years of my life, trying to chase this dream, and today we all did it. So I'm pretty happy.
I come at this from an interesting angle because obviously as a driver, but also as a parent, and seeing how calm you've been this year. You wear your heart on your sleeve, which is great, and that's why everyone loves you. But also, you've kept cool in really, really difficult circumstances, and I see that in your parents as well and your family. So you must have a real special message for them.
Yeah, you know, I mean, my best performances this year came when I needed them the most. The second half of the season, when I was a little bit on the back foot, that's when I did my best, and it's when I showed the most of me, and I managed to get the gap I needed to perform and do what I needed to do today. So, but I mean, yeah, I'm proud. I got my whole family here, my girlfriend here. I got a lot of people here, so. Would hate to embarrass them on a day like today, so I'm proud. I've managed to do them happy, put a smile on a few faces today, and yeah, I'm so proud that I could play that part. So I love you, Mum, and I love you, Dad, and I love you, family, and Louis and Marty. Yeah, so I mean, this was really for my mum and my dad, because they let me chase this dream, and today I got to share it with them. So they're very happy.
Congratulations. And, race victories are obviously very emotional. The World Championship, though, this is something we all dream about as kids. And you're a world champion for life. So congratulations. Lando Norris!
There you go. Lando Norris, the world champion. Actually, his car, Lando's car, is about 2 feet in front of me now. We can see the blistered tyres. We can see the number 4 on the end of it. Everybody wants a photograph with Lando Norris. And I think a lot of people want a photograph with his car as well. Damon Hill is alongside me here. Damon, that's some machine that's just taken Lando Norris to his first world title.
It is. It's an amazing... the hours and hours of man hours have gone, and women hours have gone into these cars. It's just phenomenal. A real team effort to engineer them and find those tiny, tiny gains. And you look at this car and you realise that everything on it means something. It's not there for any other reason than to make the car go faster and help the driver win a world championship.
You have a new member of your British World Champions Club.
We do. Well done, Lando Norris. You're part of a very unique group. The only guy missing is Sterling Moss. I don't know what happened there, but we'd love to have had Sterling in there too. He should have been in. But other than that, it's great to be witnessing another British World Champion. I'm lucky enough to see 1 or 2 pop up in my time since I stopped racing. And now there's 3 that have come along. So congratulations. I'm very happy. He was lost for words in the cockpit as he was going round, and he's done a fantastic job of holding his emotions at bay, because you can't be emotional as a racing driver, but it doesn't disappear. They don't have no emotions. They just put them in a little closet somewhere inside their heart and their soul, and then it comes out when they've done the job. And it's a very, very emotional win for Lando.
How does it feel when you can open that closet? That's what Lando's doing now. That's what you got to do in 96.
I think you can see it. And I think also, this is a family. This whole place, this Formula One thing is a family. They have gone around the world, taking these cars, taking all that gear, take flights, all the flights, lack of sleep. It's the end of season feel to it as well. What a great way to end the season for everyone. They put on a great show all year round. Formula One has been absolutely brilliant. And everyone's exhausted, and emotional. So I'm emotional. I have to say, I didn't know how I'd feel when I stopped racing about Formula One. For a while, I couldn't watch it. And then I started to come and see some races, and I felt a bit awkward not being a racing driver, but standing there talking about it. But now I love talking about it. I love working on the commentary as well, to be with Radio 5 and get a chance to actually talk about the race as it's happening, and hopefully listeners have got some benefit from that, or some enjoyment too. But it's Lando's, he can let it all come out now, and the whole team will be doing the same thing. Poor chaps have to pack up and put it on a flight as well, so they then finish their work as well, some of the mechanics. But it's and then it's straight into next year. They'll get home, they'll get a little bit of time off, and off it goes again.
Are you saying then that days like this, moments like these, have sort of helped you maybe fall back in love with the sport?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think that when you've retired, I think you see it with a lot of drivers. They want to kind of get some distance, I think, and then after a bit, you're not concerned so much about who was quicker, who wasn't quicker, and all those things anymore. And we had a picture taken with all the world champions that we had here in the paddock. There was about 8 of us in the paddock there just before we went in, and everyone comes back. Emerson Fittipaldi's here, Jackie Stewart's been here for a long time as well, Mika Häkkinen, and we're very lucky. We're the lucky few, because we not only had success, but we survived, and we're very conscious of that. And you do need a lot of luck, so you have to thank your lucky stars when you can be here to witness more champions being made. And aren't they brilliant? I mean, Max Verstappen, Red Bull, what an amazing performance they put in to put on a fight, put on a show this season for us, and they're formidable. And I think everyone will be looking at them and going, we're not even trying yet, Even McLaren will be thinking that.
There was such a lovely point you made about those who have survived, because of course not everybody has, and I was really struck before the race on the grid when I saw all the Brazilian flags and I saw someone with an Ayrton Senna t-shirt on as well. It's not just about the world champions that can come back, it's about the world champions and those that weren't who can't.
Yes, it has got a rather nasty side to it, this sport. Occasionally they've done an incredible job of making things safe, and we think about Roman Grosjean, you know, maybe he was one who wouldn't have survived until he had the halo, and so thankfully the cars are safer. But believe me, they can make it as safe as they like. So sit in one of these cars and steer them around these circuits in the conditions some of them have to do when it's raining. In Vegas, we saw them going in the wet, they couldn't see anything, they're doing 200 miles an hour. They're incredibly brave to be racing drivers, Formula One racing drivers. So it still takes an enormous amount of courage. And let me tell you, even if you've got all the protection in the world, it hurts if you hit something very hard.
Let's check in on Brighton versus West Ham in the Premier League. Second half just underway. George Cummins?
It's Brighton 0, West Ham 0, Stu. Filthy day here in Sussex, non-stop rain, and I'll be honest, it's not the best game. Somerville's gone close to West Ham and he shot wide just before half-time, but the second half has just got underway and we're hoping for much better. 0-0 here at the South Coast.
What about Celtic Hearts? Davy Donaldson?
Yeah, played about 2 minutes here. It's goalless. Wilfred Nancy, the new Celtic manager, paraded to the fans before the game. Certainly huge reception for him. A great chance, of course, for Celtic to go top of the league. They need to beat Hearts in order to do that. They're separated on goal difference, the same amount of points. Hearts not been in great form. They've been in free fall. Just one win, league win in 6 matches. So they've got it all to do. But so far, it's 0-0.
What about Chelsea-Everton in the Women's Super League? Ross Heaton.
And second place Chelsea 1-0 behind. Hayashi with a far post tap-in for the Toffees. Unbeaten in the WSL for 34 games. With the champions trail 35 gone. Chelsea 0, Everton 1.
Paul Gilmore can bring us up to date in the FA Cup. Boreham Wood Newport.
Great timing. Boreham Wood have just scored a second moments after they took the lead through Jeff King, who took advantage of a poor clearance to volley home, and just a couple of minutes later Boreham Wood intensified their efforts to kill this game off. They love this competition and they have just made it 2-0 after 36 minutes.
All right, we'll keep you up to date with all of the football. We're bringing you lots of reaction from here. So Damon Hill and I are inside the pit lane right now as the first of the people start to sort of swarm away. One or two autograph hunters or photo hunters. Very, very polite, I thought, Damon, waiting until we were doing some updates elsewhere.
Yes, I mean, well, I think we're a slightly older generation, us lot, and they've got a little bit less pushy, perhaps.
So when you look at Lando Norris then, and I ask this because it's the obvious question after someone has just won their first world title, is there something about him that would make you think, oh, here's a guy who can do it multiple times?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he knows what he's... He can now stand next to Max Verstappen and say, I've got one too. And of course, Oscar will be really envious of that situation. He knows he had a chance. Somewhere it went wrong. You know, we think of Baku. For some reason, there was a couple of occasions in Brazil. But then, of course, Lando also had some moments too. So that, you know, they're not all perfect. But I mean, they will be coming back next year. But I think what will happen now in McLaren is what you cannot assume that Lando will be letting Oscar get a world championship if they're in contention next year. Of course, that is very much a big question. They've been the class of the field this year, but the cars are totally different next year. So nobody really knows what's going to happen.
Oscar Piastri's parents are actually just in front of us here. I can see his mum and dad are holding hands and having a chat with the rest of their family. And, well, I mean, look, they're trying to be very stoic about it, I think. I saw them just with Mark Webber, of course, who was a very successful Formula One driver who represents Oscar Piastri. They were standing right behind us just as the drivers started to come up onto the podium. That's the other side of it, Damon, which is a side you have also seen when it goes against you right at the death.
Yeah, it's up and down, it's yin and yang, you know. There's times when you feel very defeated and it can be uncomfortable. But you just have to be stoic about it. You just have to take it as a lesson and an experience that motivates you to never be in that situation again if you can possibly help it. But you will be. There's just no way you can keep winning unless you're Max Verstappen, maybe. But anyway, he didn't win this time. He won a race. But yeah, it's it is part of sports. You know, you have to take disappointment and use it to learn something about yourself.
What can you tell us about how a world champion celebrates?
You just want to see people smiling. You know, it's not. You are able to make people smile, and the whole team. You don't even have to say anything. You know, people are happy, and you've made them happy, and that's a really nice feeling.
And let's touch on Max as well, because he was the third part of this in so many ways, but he did absolutely everything he could do. People always talk about Max and you're trying to look behind the eyes and how much longer does he want to do in this sport. Do you think if that were you, that would make you more motivated to go again than if you had just won number 5 in the run, you had just equalled the Michael Schumacher run? It's a very difficult man to predict.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change in the script, isn't it, for Max? You know, he came so close and he put pressure on everyone, and he was quite happy to point out the weaknesses or help highlight the opponents that he was up against and how they managed to have little hiccups along the way. But they did everything they could, but it wasn't to be this time. There was just too much to do, too much to overturn for Max. So he's actually, I think this is the first World Championship he probably feels like he's lost.
Let's go up to the commentary box, shall we? Correspondent Andrew Benson, are you still there? No, he's not there at the moment. Of course, he's gone to write his story. Rebecca Clancy is still with us, though. Beck, you had a probably even better view than we did of the podium celebrations, and you've been listening to all the interviews as well. What's standing out to you from what you've heard over the last 15 or 20 minutes?
Well, I think my big takeaway is someone needs to let Lando Norris go and have a big cry, don't they? Every time he thought he was going to get an opportunity to let a few tears be shed, he got stopped and had to talk to someone. I mean, it's quite brutal from the media perspective of what happens now, is because he wants to go and celebrate with his team, with his family and friends, and we can see all the celebrations happening in the garage, and actually he's got quite a lot of media duties to do. But the big takeaway really is, and I think the quotes from the evening are going to be, well, yes, I'm very happy, but in the next couple of hours what we'll be digging into in the media is what tactics were in place from McLaren, from Piastri starting on different strategies, how he helped. It's obviously a sad day from the Piastri camp. Verstappen did all he could, really. He won the race.
Beck, just stand by a second.
Sure.
Siska, can we just grab a very quick word for the BBC? Would that be okay? Just going into a big hug here. Lando Norris's mum, Siska, with the biggest of hugs for the family. Oh, Siska, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your boy did it. How does it feel?
Yes. Like I said in the previous ones, it's overwhelming, emotionally draining. But we backed Lando at all the good and all the bad times. We always stood on his side, but not just Lando, it was all the children. It's a dream come true for Lando, that's for sure, yeah.
Is there any part of you for whom it hasn't quite sunk in yet that your boy is the world champion?
I'm sure when tomorrow is like another day, I just want to be with Lando now, but I'm sure he's been taken away by the press. But it's brilliant, it's lovely. I can't express it, I'm lost for words, really. But
Siska's just seen Damon, and now Siska, Lando Norris's woman, Damon Hill, are having a big hug.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear from a mum who has seen the son grow up and go through all the pain. There must have been moments when you had to say, well, there's disappointments, aren't there? And you have to say to Lando, well, you want to be a racing driver. What were those conversations like? Did you have those moments when who was pushing who? Did he push his parents?
It was who was pushing who? We didn't push the children. They'd chosen what to do, and we just supported them. But it does take sacrifices, because the girls and the boys been growing up almost separate. It was passing ships in the night. But they'd chosen what they wanted to do, and we supported it, and that was it, But it takes its toll, because I missed Lando growing up, when he was 8, he started to compete, and it took him all over the place. I couldn't always be there, but Adam stood on his side. And I missed him badly, and I'm still missing him. I don't see him often, you see. Don't see him.
You've got a world champion as a son now, Siska. So you have a world champion as a son, a Formula One world champion.
Yeah.
What's Christmas going to be like now?
Oh, do you really want to know?
Yes.
I only see him for 3 days. Yes. He deserves it, you know. It's he can do what he wants. He is a grown-up man. And for sure the last 6 months he changed, and he kind of become stronger in his mind as well.
What is, because he's quite an unusual character in the sense that he talked a lot about his emotions earlier in the year. He was talking about his ups and downs. You know, how do you see Lando? Who is the Lando? You know, is he the same Lando that we see? Is he the same guy?
Yeah, Lando is Lando. But in the end of the day, it was the team. We had a good team, and we still have a good team where Lando could fall back on, and that is what kept it going. It's the team, not just us. We were not always there, so it's John and Mark and Fraser and the team McLaren who kept it going. And to be proud of, actually.
And just before we let you go then, because I think we should let you go and find your son. This is an amazing moment, clearly, for the whole family, and it's obvious that so much has been sacrificed by everybody to make it happen. And I know you said you see Lando sort of change over the last 6 months, but to you, he'll always be this big, won't he?
He will always be Lando, yeah. I mean, he's just one of the 4 children I've got, and they are all... I respect them all. Not more, not less. They're all the same, but this is big, you know. It's only 20 people in a competition, so it's huge.
Thank you for Lando. I think he's a very, very welcome addition to the club of world champions and to Formula One. He's given us a lot this year. He's a lot of personality. He's a lovely young man.
Yes, so, and a bit of fun, yeah. He has a fun character, and he mustn't lose that. He mustn't lose.
Siska, thank you so much for talking to us. Really appreciate it. Congratulations again. And yeah, enjoy the biggest of big hugs when you see him.
Thank you. Happy Christmas.
Oh, how lovely is that? That's Siska, Lando Norris's mum, who so emotional. And lots of other people are trying to sort of drag her away, but she doesn't want to leave Damon Hill's side. Beck Clancy, can I just come to you on this? Because we only said it the other day when all of the drivers in the press conference that we were sitting in before this race, they all talked about their mums. So how lovely it is to hear from her.
Oh, it's lovely to hear from her. That was such an emotional interview. It was brilliant. And you were mentioning there about growing up, and his brother Oliver actually was quite a good karter back in the day. The two of them went through that journey together for quite a while, but it was Lando's talent that really shone out, and actually was why he got picked up. And you know, his dad, as you said, he was the one on the road taking them around, but it was Lando who kind of made the progression through the junior series, the karting, and then up into the single seaters. And it was pretty early on, actually, that you could tell how good Lando Norris actually was. But that does come with sacrifice, as Siska was saying, and you know, he's very close to his family, Lando Norris. I've spoken to him for years and years about it. I remember when Lando Norris crashed in Vegas a couple of years ago, and one of the first things he said when I saw him at the next race was, "Oh my goodness, my mum didn't like that one." I can only imagine what it must be. I mean, I'm a mother myself. I can only imagine what it's like watching your children and your son get into a car and catapult themselves at 200 plus miles an hour around these tracks where there's absolutely no runoff, and it's very, very unforgiving. So yeah, it's lovely to see. And you know, for all of the drivers on the grid, and not just Lando Norris, obviously we're talking about him now as champion, but there is an awful lot of sacrifice that goes into getting into Formula One. They start young, as Siska was saying, you know, 8 years old, sometimes even younger. They have to really fully commit. You know, they're not always at school. They have to do a lot of homeschooling. They're on the road. Esteban Ocon, he lived out of a caravan, and they were travelling around France initially when they were starting out. it is, you're in or you're out. There's no halfway house here. You have to be fully committed to it. And what we saw with Lando Norris is 16 years of competing in this sport, dreaming of this moment of standing on that podium, of being absolutely drenched in champagne, lifting the trophy. Even though today it's for third, he'll get the real one on Friday. But it is the dream, and they have given up everything, and we saw all of it, all that 16 years just pour out of him, and no wonder he wants to go off and have a bit of a cry.
Oh, absolutely. And look, Harry, that's it, isn't it? We have seen everything being given by a family, by a driver, and I think sometimes the people who aren't mad keen on F1, and that's totally fine. The drivers are what makes it. It's not just about the fastest car, it's not just about the fastest team, it's about the personalities and it's about the stories behind them, and we've just heard exactly what Lando Norris's is. Come in, Harry, can you hear me? Oh, we can't hear. Sorry. Oh, he's on his way down to find us. I thought, Beck, that was a great question, though, right?
It was a great question. Yeah, Crossy, you had it nailed if only there was someone there to answer it for you.
Well, you could give it a go if you want, because I think that is the key, isn't it? This sport isn't for absolutely everybody, which is fine. Each to their own, absolutely. But these are the kind of things that really make it sing. You heard Damon say that it's this season, this story really has helped him fall back in love with the sport.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't realise watching the sport sometimes is how much of a team sport this is. And McLaren, as we've mentioned, they wrapped up the Constructors' Championship a while ago now, and that's great for the team. Prize money is based on it, their bonuses are based on it, and that's fantastic. And tonight we've very much been talking about the individual, the driver's title, but you cannot win a world championship without an enormous group of people around you, and that's the 1,500, 2,000 people within the team, be it trackside or back home at the factories. It's the people that you have around you, so your managers, your physios, your psychologists, it's your family, it's your friends, it's your girlfriend, it's whoever you need around you. It's so important. We've been talking to Lewis Hamilton this weekend, and he's obviously really struggled in his debut year with Ferrari, and he's now going away over the winter, he told us, to have a look at the team that's around him, and perhaps some people need to be shuffled around. And you cannot underestimate how much goes into getting Lando Norris to where he is now as the 2025 world champion.
Just in front of us, there has been the most humongous roar, a guttural roar that has come out of the McLaren garage, and I'm just sort of looking through the panels there, and maybe you might just be able to hear it in the background. I'd be creeping closer, but I would get in the middle of about 500 television shots, so I'd probably make myself very, very unpopular. Harry Benjamin is with me now down here in the pit lane. I mean, the emotion just pouring out of everybody in Papaya is something else.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, like I said on the commentary, it was simple for Lando Norris here tonight in Abu Dhabi, but everything is far from simple in Formula One. There was jeopardy. It wasn't going to be the race of the season. It didn't turn out that way, but for a man that has been a part of McLaren, for longer than 7 years, he was part of their junior program, almost mentored by Zach Brown. He's been brought up through the ranks. He has gelled with this team. He has built this team brick by brick. They've grown together. They were in the doldrums only a few years ago, and they have risen up. Lando Norris showed the faith, and he just showed trust in them, and they showed trust in him, and it's so brilliant to see it being delivered here now.
Nice one, Harry. Thank you very much indeed. Right, there will be much more to come from here in Abu Dhabi. We will hopefully be speaking ourselves to the new Formula One world champion at some point in the next hour or so, so we'll be able to bring that to you hopefully before the end of the programme. Let's join some Premier League football commentary, shall we then? Brighton versus West Ham, ongoing. Jonathan Pearce is there.
0-0 here at the Amex with 63 minutes gone then.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
A win tonight and the final race of the season for Lando Norris and McLaren seals them as the Formula One Constructors World Champions in 2024.
So next year's going to be my year too.
Can't wait. It's
going to be an incredible start to what's hopefully a really exciting season. Onwards.
I'm into that.
Bring it on.
Wow, we're talking Formula One.
Lando Norris, who crosses the line and takes victory here in Australia. Norris seals the deal and takes the first win of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on fire or not.
As Lando Norris will see crucial points fall away from him.
Absolute heartbreak for McLaren.
And there's going to be contact between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris goes spinning round as well. There's a wheel off in the background. Big damage for the two McLarens.
You know, I've never been in this situation before, but I'm excited. I think it's exciting for everyone.
Lando Norris wins the Mexico City Grand Prix.
Wonderful car. Thanks for the hard work. Keep it up. We need to keep it up.
He crosses the line and into history. Lando Norris is champion in 2025.
What a story, what a season, what a man. Lando Norris. We spoke live to his mum Siska on 5 Live in the aftermath of him winning the world title. And a few minutes ago, I spoke to the man himself. Here he is. This is the world champion.
I mean, it's incredible. It really is incredible. It's hard to... I don't know what I'm meant to say, like, on a lot of this. I really don't. It's just such an incredible feeling because, you know, a lot of people don't know what goes on in the background, what it takes. A lot of people do, but a lot don't. And I think when I know how much hard work's gone into it, how much everyone around me has pushed me, has kicked me to kind of get the best out of me at times, because they believed I could do it more than I myself. And you know, they were the ones who believed in me the most, and they made me perform at the level I needed to do. And I couldn't thank everyone else enough from my team to support me like that. But yeah, to finally say those few words, I'm the world champion. It's the first time I said like that, but to say it, you know, it's this is you never know when you're going to achieve that. Like, it always feels so distant, you know, it feels years away, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we've done it. And I'm proud of my team, McLaren, John, everyone, the good stuff. And
you feel like you've won an Oscar or something, do you know what I mean?
I'm crazy happy for everyone, and of course for myself, and for everyone else even more so.
So I just met your mum. She's cool, isn't she?
She's probably still crying somewhere.
Have you managed to find her yet?
I saw my mum. That was the first person I went to when I got out of the car, was my mum and my dad. They made me cry a little bit more. This is their championship. This is my parents winning it just as much as it's me, my team, everyone around me. They were the ones who let me live this dream that I had when I was a kid. My dad was the one who took me to all the karting tracks when I was younger. He's the one who allowed me to pursue our dream. And we've been through a lot together. And he's helped me every step of the way. My whole family has. My brother, my sisters are here. And this is for them. Like, I don't see any of them that much. But deep down, I know how much they're always supporting me, how much they're always trying to get the best out of me, look after me. So when I cross the line and I kind of get to think of all of those things that they've done for me, then it makes me pretty happy.
I bet it does. I won't take too much of your time. I can imagine it must be so difficult, because we had Damon Hill with us, and he said, you know, when you become world champion, it's like you open a box and it all spills out. Is that what it's been like?
It really was, because I don't get emotional. I get disappointed, I get angry, I get happy, you know, all those things. I don't get like truly emotional in a teary-eyed way, very rarely. But today I did, because so much goes into it, and not many people in the world ever get to say they've achieved something like what I've been able to achieve today. And the fact I get to do that for everyone else, you know, my engineers, this is their dream. My mechanics, this is their dream. they can all say that they're constructors and drivers champions, and that's the thing that almost makes me the happiest, honestly.
Okay, last one then. Your mum said that over Christmas she thinks she'll only get to see you for 3 days. Any leeway on that? Can we get to 4, do you think?
I will see. I should tell that to F1, they're the ones that make us start work a lot earlier next year. So if I had a longer holiday, I would. Formula One's relentless. Like by the time you stop, we get to the Christmas time, I put on a bit of weight and I got to lose it again, and I got us to get back in the gym and get training for another year, because you need every bit of advantage, everything you can possibly get, and that starts already now, or January the 1st, in a way. So I'll see my mum. I'll give her a big hug, and that's the most important thing.
Thank you, Lando, and well done.
Thank you very much.
Lando Norris, the Formula One world champion. Rosanna Tennant is with me here. We're just standing right next to the pen still. And is Lando Norris still in there?
He is. They've had to start the press conference with Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri without Lando Norris. Loquacious Lando, as I'm going to call him tonight. He won't stop chatting, but Crossy, it was so nice to hear him talk to you like that. He felt so at ease, I think, just watching his body language. It's like a weight has been lifted, smiling, laughing. We haven't seen that from him all year long, and I really picked up on that fact that he lacked the self-belief that perhaps his family had instead of him at times. So I feel like we're seeing the relaxed Lando that I've been wanting to see all year, and finally it's there. It is him. He is the world champion. I love that he said that to you first, because he was warming himself up to it with other broadcasters. I was watching him as he went round the media pen, and he was saying the words world champion. He said, haven't said those words, but he hadn't said I am world champion, and you got that, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
The amount of sacrifice and everything that he talks about, and the emotion was absolutely wonderful to hear coming from him as well. But the other thing that occurred to me is he's a big advocate for mental health as well. He talks a lot about mental health. I actually think it is no bad thing, as Max Verstappen just walks right past us here. We'll hear from him shortly. I think it's no bad thing to see someone who's just won the world title that emotional.
I know, and I was a bit sad that he said he looked like a loser, because I think obviously he looks and he is a winner. It's so nice to see some vulnerability and to show how much this means to him, because in the lead up to this weekend he was almost saying like, I might look back on this in 6 years, I wouldn't even think about it, and it's not going to change my life. We heard Max Verstappen say that in 2021, that winning a world championship wouldn't change his life. I think it did, I think it has, and I think it'll be the same for Lando Norris. So seeing those emotions, those raw emotions, I think it was fantastic for all of us here in the paddock, and for the international media and the world to see someone showing us how much this means to them.
And when we spoke to his mum on the pit lane just after he lifted that trophy, she was talking about having seen a new Lando in the last 6 months, which immediately makes me think, well, what's the Lando of the next year going to look like now?
I think he's actually changed some of the people in his team that work around him, especially when it comes to mental health, mindset, and how he approaches racing. That has made obviously a huge difference. He alluded to it in the pen with some of the other broadcasters. They didn't want to go into it too much now, but I'm rubbing my hands with glee at the thought of an autobiography from Lando Norris in years to come, to find out what he had to overcome, because it is relentless. We heard him say it just then. This season is relentless. Formula One is relentless. This is the 24th round of 24, and they have had to be on their A game all the time. Not every time. We've seen it. We've seen him make mistakes. He's held his hands up to that, but I think it has obviously taken a lot out of him, but as it should. It is highly and well deserved.
I also enjoyed that we got a little bit of mischief from him on his team radio there that we heard just before we heard from Lando himself, when he was like, next year's going to be my year too.
Well, I think, was that played last year? I almost felt that might have been 2024.
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah.
No, but maybe next year as well. I mean, that's laying down a gauntlet, isn't it? Maybe, given that we know how strong the Mercedes engine is going to be next year. That's what we're hearing. And of course, McLaren have a Mercedes engine. But I think it has just been such a stellar year for McLaren to take the Constructors' Championship and now the Drivers' Championship. Let's not forget, a few years ago, they were at the back of the grid, Crossy. They had no logos on their car. They couldn't attract sponsors. Zach Brown, their CEO, has come in and done a fabulous marketing job, getting that team out there, bringing people in to support them. He's brought in Andrea Stella as the team principal, and together they have adopted these racing principles, papaya rules, if you want to go there. And what they have achieved is actually short of incredible in Formula One. You don't see these kind of turnarounds. So how impressive on all fronts, from the drivers to the team, the mechanics, the engineers. So impressive.
It was also lovely to see immediately after we spoke to Lando, the first thing he did is the same thing as the first thing his mum did, which is give Damon Hill just the biggest cuddle, who was standing next to us as we were doing the interview. I also spoke to the man who finished first today, but second overall. For the first time in 5 years, Max Verstappen is not world champion, but he had a smile on his face at the end of the race, and here's what he had to say to me.
I mean, we had a fantastic weekend again. We did what we had to do, and then we, of course, always relied on a bit of luck, which didn't happen now today. But we can still be super proud of this. I mean, it's been an incredible turnaround. And again, it's also lessons for next year and the years after, that even when it looks or you think that you're out, never give up and always keep fighting.
I mean, when you've won as much as you have, do you still learn things? Like, have you got a big learning from this season, even having not quite got there?
I think you will always learn until the day that you stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at least what I hope. I mean, F1 is such a difficult and technical sport that even when you think that you know it all, there's always going to be a race or a moment in the year where it will teach you that you don't know it all, or the eventual outcome of a season, like I think it did this year. It just shows, that there are always things that you learn.
Yeah. I could just ask you for a quick word on Lando. There'll be a lot of respect between world champions, between all the drivers, of course, but you know what I mean.
This is what all the drivers dream of. I mean, this is something that you work for when you were a little kid, and your first one is so emotional always. And I really hope he enjoys it also tonight with his family that is here, and of course the team, because I mean they've worked super hard to overcome their own difficulties over the last 3 years, and they've been having an incredible season, of course. So yeah, I hope they enjoy it tonight.
Max Verstappen, do you know what, Rosanna? I was thinking, listening to that last bit, you and I and everybody else here for the whole weekend has been like, I just wish the drivers would give it a bit and there'd be a little bit of aggro. Actually, now we're the other side of it, and now the title has been won. It's a different feeling. That was just classy from Max Verstappen.
Super classy, and I just felt his pragmatism in that interview and his answers that he was giving. Very grown up. Obviously, he's matured as he's grown through this sport, but I thought those were wonderful words. I think the big thing for me with Max Verstappen and Red Bull this year, they've encountered a lot of obstacles to overcome, and I'm talking about their team principal Christian Horner, who left after Silverstone, the British Grand Prix this year. New team principal coming in Laurent Mekies. I think this year's not about the title necessarily for them, it's about the turnaround. It shows what they can achieve when they all pull together, when everyone's working in the same direction, and I think that could be a formidable force for next year. So I think Max will be pleased that he did everything he could today. He took that race win. Yes, the title evaded him, but he's still a 4-time world champion. I think that's where the pragmatism comes from.
And he'll be back. Let's not forget that.
Oh, always. Never count him out. Even if they don't start on the front foot in 2026, I think what we've seen with this turnaround in 2025 is that they'll be able to fight back. They will never give up.
Thank you, Rosanna. Great stuff. That's Rosanna Tennant, pit lane reporter. Lando Norris is still, by the way, just sort of drinking in the celebrations in front of us. There'll be an absolute bumper edition, by the way, of the Checkered Flag podcast after all of this, and you'll be able to hear also from Oscar Piastri. I spoke to him probably about 15-20 minutes ago, and he said, I will be a better driver for this season. He, like Max Verstappen, just missing out. Right, should we have some Premier League football? Less than 15 minutes to kick off. Full commentary on the way of Fulham versus Crystal Palace. And the team news. Good evening, Conor McNamara. Or good afternoon.
Hello,
let's not do my time zone.
Good afternoon. It's dark here under the floodlights at Craven Cottage.